Well, look at us. We're back.
Yo. What? Oh, it's Z. Holy shit.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Oh, fuck.
Hey.
Nice
Wow.
to see you.
Did not
Dude.
see there. That's crazy.
You startled me.
Where were you?
Really?
Yeah.
Where were you? Where have you been?
He was off. He's out there.
I'm just trying to process everything, just life and...
Yeah. What you got to process? What's going on? What's new? It's been a minute.
His computer is processing. A lot.
All the dads in the world just shook their heads in shame at that joke. Hey, it's not how you're supposed to do it, son. Leave the dad jokes to
A
the
dad
dads.
typing
Just-
Miss L on a TikTok. Big
Yeah,
miss.
hold this L, Con.
Yeah.
He's just Connor.
Bell up to here. Con, that was a L. Gotta be honest.
Like
That was a flop.
I was talking to Greg, and we were talking about his son's biggest L.
like Connor really fell off with this one.
Oh my god.
6 episodes in, and Connor's already fallen off.
My dad will talk to some other dads, and they'll be roasting sons of people that I know. And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
damn, y'all are savage. I'm glad my parents.
yeah. I
Respect
think
me, I
my dad
guess.
knows that. I've publicly said I beat my dad's ass, so I don't think he could ever do that.
So you actually have. That's not a joke. You actually have traded.
It wasn't like punches. But
But you dominated. You overcame your father.
yeah, it was. It wasn't a domination.
If we were to go to a patriarchal framing of the situation, you were the alpha male of the family. You
Right.
established yourself over your
Yep.
father.
You pissed all
Therefore-
over the house. It was yours.
Yep,
at that
I
point.
won, and now I pay rent to my mom.
Who's that? Who's that kickboxer y'all were talking about? He's English or he's British?
Oh, Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
Oh,
If I want to
yeah.
live in somewhere where the fucking people on the street can fucking kill me, I'll go to
Fucking
America.
dominated your father. I mean, that's max domination we're
Yeah.
talking about here.
Yeah, I fucking dominated my father.
Men are obsessed with status.
I don't know what his accent actually is.
I don't know.
It's like
It's
a guy
leaning
trying
into-
so hard not to sound European.
right, English.
right,
He's
right.
trying to ditch the
You're a
English.
fucking idiot.
Right, it's like Christian Bale in American Psycho. You can still
Yeah.
hear that.
Right.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call him with the anti-Semitic remarks.
I'm gonna need you to go there and do. that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't even realize I could do an Andrew Tate, but that's exactly what he sounds like. If you're a
Right.
man and you're having a fucking heart attack,
Right.
fucking suck it up. It's very hard not to spit all
Yeah,
over.
it's like
By the way, he literally said that.
Yeah.
He literally.
You're a fucking pussy.
Yeah,
Get up.
that
Right.
wasn't hyperbolic. That
Yeah.
was a
Wait, I
quote,
didn't even hear what
direct quote.
But he's sometimes
He
like,
basically was saying, if you have a heart attack, pull it together and get over it.
yeah, he's like, I'm not giving you fucking CPR. If you're a fucking hot chick, I'll give you fucking CPR. But if you're a guy, he
Isn't
sounds
there
like a guy
I-
from like Scotland and Baltimore at the same time somehow.
Isn't there a Chris Farley bit where he keeps having a heart attack? Was it SNL? And he just
yeah.
hits his chest.
That's
He
the
hits-
Bears.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Dubbers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Dog, I cannot wait for dudes like that to just like lose a friend because like homophobia
Yeah, to be
wouldn't let-
hugely humbled.
right?
Yeah.
Just to be like, I thought it was gay to give him mouth to mouth. I didn't know what else to do. You know?
This is a prime example of patriarchy kills. Like,
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
bro, he's having a heart attack. I don't know. Andrew said,
I mean,
get it together, man.
Whoa, take this L, Andrew. You're doing CPR on your best friend.
Kind of gay. You're putting your mouth on his.
Whoa,
I
zesty ass CPR you're doing,
I
bro.
can try to like blow it through a funnel, but I don't know what else I can do here, bro.
But yeah, he sometimes has those broken clock moments where he's like, fucking people in America, all they fucking care about is cheeseburgers
Right.
and stuff being big and wealth.
Well, that corruption clip you sent.
Yeah.
Where
He's
he's
like,
like-
in fucking England, they'll pull me over and talk about law and order. And they won't accept the bribe. And like the guys are like, oh, and he's like, I'm not fucking joking. He's like, in fucking Romania.
I will kill you if you keep laughing when I'm
Right.
talking about something seriously.
And he's like almost neurodivergent. Like he'll be like, yeah, Bugatti Veyron, $1.25 million. I mean, I bought it. Like he's a rich asshole, but he's like firing off the top all this
Yeah,
shit.
I love that energy when people can really tell the truth because it's not their country, where they're just like, America's a fucking police state. I swear to God.
Yeah.
It's like, what about everywhere else in the world?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was. This is my first episode back from
Yeah, how was
touching Europe. Connor went to Europe.
How was your little journey into
Now, I can just tell you that the cipher key for knowing exactly how a country operates, at least for me, is going to their McDonald's and trying their McDonald's.
You have a disease.
No, I don't. Listen, I can explain it.
Sickness.
Here's the thing with Europe, right? Like, everything's fresh and healthy and normal. You know what I mean?
What?
Oh, that's not a problem. Let me rephrase it. Everything's...
You mean at their McDonald's or in general?
No. I'll explain. I'm making a huge point here.
Let me...
So, if you are in America, right? Like, you're paying you're paying hours of your life for anything. If it's a fucking sandwich in New York, if it's a fucking, like, I can go to fucking a bagel store, a hip Bushwick bagel store, and pay an hour minimum wage fee for a fucking Italian sub, right? Uh-huh. But I can also pay, like, a lot of money and get, like, world-class food. Absolutely phenomenal food. Mm-hmm. Or you can get absolute crud shit in America. You can get any. The full spectrum is available to you. You're going to be paying blood and limb for it, but the full spectrum is available to you. In Europe, you can't slut it out with food. It's like, everything's, almost ethical, everything you're eating. Everything is, like, fresh. You can't just get shit. And they don't have fucking plastic bottles, which...
Let's give some context here. You were hold on, because Europe is big. You were in Portugal specifically.
Yes.
Portugal.
So let's be specific here.
Portugal also is...
I was laughing, by the way. I was laughing like that
because I'm a rube.
Because you're like Europe. Everything is
perfect.
It's like Subway, but for real. Eat fresh.
Here in Europe, everything costs $5.
Yeah,
€5,
like,
25.
There's definitely 100% shit food.
Yeah,
everywhere.
Yeah. There's fish and chips fried in piss over there in England. Yeah, absolutely.
But what's the quality of the piss?
So
is that the point you were getting at, though? You're like, I want to go to what this country, Portugal's lowest of the low is, and then see how it's hitting.
It is, it's like an economical, cultural cipher saying how they interpret fast food. But what I'll just say in general, Portugal, first of all, let me just get Portugal out of the way. It's temperate climate year round. It's gorgeous. It's like not humid. It's just like breezy and fucking nice. It feels like the beach everywhere. Every single street, alley, cranny, and nook is like nicer and more beautiful and ancient than the nicest parts of Manhattan. Like, I don't know if you like the Village or some shit. I don't know. Whatever. Like the nice parts. And then it's 57% cheaper than New York City. A lot of celebrities move there to retire. And it's very safe and it's very high in the happiness index. Wages are like whatever. I mean, it's still capitalism or whatever. Right. But they're relatively happy. They have the month of June, a huge parkway is shut down for the whole month, and it's free beer, food, water, everything for 30 days straight every night. So that's crazy. But what I'm basically trying to say is, like, you can't get crap there, and you can't get anything fast. Nothing's fast and nothing's shit, really.
Yeah, right. They got to go to Cameroon first.
I guess so. I don't know. But I can just tell you...
was that
I didn't... That
was that a colonialism joke?
I guess so.
I just shove in there?
I mean, I think they're getting some of the shit from the Atlantic that they border, but at least the fish, I guess, or the sardine.
The Atlantic that's right there on the coast of Cameroon.
I'm just telling you, Connor's hot. Connor's hot take.
Please acknowledge when I'm passing judgment.
Yeah. I'm sure there's plenty of fucked up. It's Europe. We had the Europe conversation.
It is Europe.
But I can tell you...
We had the France conversation.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I can't really paint all of Europe with that. I don't know. Can I?
I can't paint Europe with a broad
There's definitely commonalities as it relates to Europe.
Yeah. I don't know. Without diving too much into my geopolitical shortcomings here, I'll just say the fucking food is a good indicator anywhere you go, I think, of how shit is, like culturally, socially, economically. And yeah, their McDonald's was almost too fresh. I didn't like it.
Yeah?
It was kind of weird. Their chicken nuggets were like this fucking big. They were like real chicken nuggets. You eat the chicken sandwich and it's like fucking dark meat. Like it's like real chicken.
By the time I finished that meal, I didn't feel like I was going to get cancer.
Exactly.
So I got to give it 2 French fries out of 10.
2 Happy Meals out of 5.
2
but
arches out of 2.
Yeah, but that's why I was gone. I think some folks in the comments, maybe they'll know what I'm talking about in terms of the freshness. It's like, be like, yeah, we can get you that. It's like, it takes 25 minutes to get served.
Do you know Cameroon is the Portuguese word for shrimp?
You keep bringing this up.
You might have
bringing that up.
You might have mentioned that.
It was during the live event.
It was
during the live show.
I'm just really trying to hone it.
Oh, okay, got you.
Portugal's not a good place.
Yeah.
I've also been.
It's easy to like own me on this because I don't know any shit about Portugal or their. I just know that they were in the Punic War.
The Portuguese
One of the Punic Wars back
White
in the day.
folks love the Punic War. I don't know.
People are always talking about the Punic
Everybody's
Wars.
talking about the Punic
And there was
War.
multiple of them, apparently.
Yeah, there was a couple.
The Phoenicians were involved.
On the food thing, I wanted to say that I can only relate in terms of living in Japan.
Yeah.
The konbini, like the convenience store.
Oh,
I used to live out of the convenience stores
I feel
there.
like I would like that a lot.
You would. No, that would be like your pocket for sure.
I feel like I would
And you
also
can
like
live out of the
Oh, yeah.
konbini out there.
Because it's like ramen and shit. And they have the that's
Everything.
modern. Wawas have ramen and fucking hot water. You can
Right,
eat.
that's
Like,
the U.S. equivalent. It's like Wawa. You keep getting Wawa ads, by the way.
Nope.
I'm just getting absolutely demolished by Wawa ads.
I feel like
Instagram
you're
wants me
getting,
to fast so fucking bad.
Your ads are about fasting?
Fasting and fucking keto, make your own food at home delivery meal shits. What I think I might do, because it's like it ends up being $12 a meal if you get like 8 a week, and it's like
I keep getting the Wawa on YouTube.
that's
today
weird.
at Wawa.
Is there a fucking Wawa nearby?
At Wawa. I keep getting
It's
like
New
I'm just getting,
Jersey.
like, clothes.
Mainly like I feel like there's definitely Wawas. in New
Wawa
York
sounds
City,
like a
but-
Japanese word. I mean, it is.
Probably
Yeah.
it's two syllables,
Two
I guess.
Japanese sounds.
Yeah.
Syllables. What? It's like there's not even one nearby. Like, how am I going to contribute?
Nah, there are in the tri-state area.
Well,
It's
yeah,
definitely
but-
a
yeah,
tri-state,
but-
and I definitely feel like there's probably at least 1 or 2 in New York City.
Right.
I'll just Google it right now. Yeah.
But isn't
I
the
feel like
drone
that's-
flying above us, tracking all of us, know that we're not in a zip code with a Wawa in it? Like, it's a waste
Oh
of
no,
time.
no! The first thing I said was right. They're all just in Jersey.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know
Why am I
thought
getting
so.
Wawa ads?
Yeah, it's like, what?
You got
It's
plans
like
to
giving
be
me
in Jersey?
Zaxby's ads. Like, there's not. That's not
But
something I
there
can
will always
contribute to.
there'll always be time for Zaxby's.
Well, I
I'll
mean,
make-
of course,
I'll
dude.
make plans.
Canes.
I
Oh my
can't
God.
wait for someone in the comments to be like, "No, there's a hidden Wawa actually downtown Manhattan.
Yeah.
It's not going to come up on the maps.
Right.
It's in the sub. It's down below or outside the subway.
It's in the
system.
subway under Tribeca, actually.
Dude, they're making a Canes in Times Square. It's going to be literally, I think it's going to be the largest. It's going to be like 8,000 square feet. It'll be like the largest restaurant in New York City, and it's going to be in Times Square.
Oh my
Or it'll
God.
be the largest restaurant in Times Square,
Bigger than the M&M store?
probably.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I cannot fucking wait.
Yeah.
Canes is in St. Louis, and I get it every time I'm home.
Yeah, I've never been to Canes.
Oh my
I've never been to
fucking
Canes.
God.
I've been to St. Louis once.
Folks watching this will know.
and it was the Greyhound station in St. Louis.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what? You got into a rental car or something and kept driving or
No,
something?
I got on a different Greyhound.
Okay, got it.
It was a dark time in my life.
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah.
I was taking a Greyhound from LA to Atlanta. It was a bad it was a bad move.
Whoa. So wait. LA to. Oh, okay.
Or it might
so-
have been the other way. I did both ways at one point. It was a
On the
very
road
dark-
again. What in the on the road again is that?
I can't wait to get on the road again.
Why a Greyhound from LA to Atlanta?
You just
'Cause
wanted to
I-
look out the window and pretend like you were in a movie. type shit.
Yeah,
just
no.
holding your iPod shuffle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Listening to
lean up-
Kid A.
lean up against the window like in an anime.
Yeah.
No, I had convinced myself at the time that that a Greyhound was cheaper than a flight. It's not. It's
I think
not.
you might have
It's-
said this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That
It's-
is wild.
it's not cheap. Well, I think the timing.
What
of when
characters did you encounter
So-
in those hours from LA to ATL?
in El Paso, Texas? In El Paso, Texas,
a man
dude-
came on with an AR, just right on his back.
No.
No, it was a snake around his neck, a python.
Well, it was actually so. First words I hear as the bus is taking off is this big ass dude going, "Yeah, I can't use brass knuckles anymore because my fingers are too big."
Yes, I remember this.
I remember this.
That's crazy. Yeah, you told us this on the train one time when there was guys selling brass knuckles and tasers on the train. Remember that with his kid?
Oh,
you remember that?
yeah.
There was a guy out of like a trench coat, and we were joking like you could just be like, "Oh, let me see that." Pa! We were like, "Let me test this," and loot him. You know?
Yeah.
Check his inventory.
Hey,
I remember this.
Could I see some of those brass knuckles and a taser at the same time?
Yeah. Could I see that 4-inch knife you got?
Let me just.
Yeah.
Charge it up like a Mega Man character.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But yeah, that was the first thing I heard on the Greyhound. Second thing I heard, this one was less crazy, but there were two dudes with trench coats, and they were not friendly to each other. So one dude came up to the other one, and he's like trying to make conversation. He goes, "Hey, nice trench, bro," and the other dude just kind of goes.
That's like me when a redhead comes up to me. He's like, "Yo, we're gingers," and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, stop.
What?
Yeah, it was like.
I mean, it's true that happens.
Wow.
Many times, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Imagine if every black person you saw was like, "We're black! We're black!
We're brothers.
Yeah.
We're happy and we're singing and we're colored.
We share the same phenotypical traits."
Yeah, it's
I mean, there are less gingers in the world.
I'm
a
a mutation.
Yeah.
So
Technically, it's a
makes
mutation.
We're both recessive.
Yeah, exactly.
you know, I got red hairs.
Do you? I might have known that. Maybe.
It's not like
I might have seen it in
patched
your
or-
beard,
yeah,
maybe
my
a little
beard.
bit.
Yeah.
Check
I
this
mean,
real quick.
I don't know, man. I got reds that pop out in the sun, but it's not my normal hue. It's not my regular hue.
I got them all over.
Oh,
Let me tell you.
Final character. This was in El Paso. Dude tries to get on.
Everything happened in El Paso.
Everything
basically.
literally everything happened in El Paso. Like when we're trying to
Tells you everything you need to know, guys.
everything you need to know about. But there was a dude who had been on the bus the whole time from Atlanta. Tries to get on, and suddenly, I guess the staff switched out, or like there was different staff at the El Paso station. Suddenly, they're checking bags, and this dude got caught with a knife after he had it from Atlanta, and they tried to confiscate it. And I'm just sitting here like, he's gonna kill somebody there. Like he's not fucking with people on the bus.
He would have killed somebody.
Right.
I mean, Atlanta to El Paso is a long.
Right.
It's long.
That's
like
premeditated.
12, 14-hour drive.
Right. He's gonna get a new knife.
Yeah.
You know, he brought it to get somebody in L.A. That's fine.
The other thing about at least Portugal, I went on Air Portugal to come back, and it's like they give you a fucking metal knife on the plane to eat your food.
Oh yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
damn, I'm really
Yeah. You know what's
knifed up right now.
Now that you say that, I did fly Air Portugal to Ghana, like right before.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Cause I was in Ghana right before COVID started to visit my cousin, and on the way into Ghana, one of the most racist experiences I've ever had. On the way back to Portugal, lovely, beautiful experience. Actually, no, sorry. On the way out of Portugal back to the U.S., great. On the way into Ghana, bad.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's where you were like profiled essentially, or are you?
That's
talking
where
about-
I mean, like,
passport taken or
that was like
something?
everybody on the plane was West African, so like they were just like openly racist and like I mean,
Yeah, Air Portugal sucks. I can just tell you that.
yeah,
In general.
yeah. They
okay.
lost my bag. I didn't have a bag. I was in Ghana for 2 weeks, and I was missing my bag for the first week of the trip because they were just like, we don't know what happened. We got somebody looking for it, and then
You ever heard of Cape Verde?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got friends from there.
Do you know about the history of Cape Verde?
No.
They light skin.
Should we get into
That's
it?
all I'll say.
I don't. I'm not an expert. But there's a reason why he keeps making colonization jokes about Portugal and Portuguese people.
I mean, they're colonizers. The reason
Yeah.
people in Brazil speak Portuguese. I mean,
Right.
Which is
Yeah.
funny because
Cape
it's like
Verde is like, it was like,
I mean, it's like Haiti too.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna get into it because it's brutal stuff. But
Yeah,
it's
I don't
fucked
have
up.
I don't have the expertise to speak on it, but I just It's colonialism.
They all look like me there for a reason. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And it wasn't consensual.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rough. I can just say real quick, just to cap off the Air Portugal. On the way to Portugal, it was like 50 pounds, whatever. And then on the way back, it was like 28 pounds. Okay, and it was like, this is just a full blown scam.
Wait. Like
the checking,
they switch it off. They're
like, oh no, it's like 15 kilos. Like, fuck you. And I looked at it, I'm like, this is 28 pounds.
I brought some little knickknacks with you. Yeah.
It's only about 8 stone.
Yeah, it's like 8 stone. You carry on.
Stone.
You're gonna have to pay about 50 quid.
And here's the thing, right? So on the way there, when you're signing up, doing the passport thing online, you mark check bag. It just automatically gives you one for free.
Yeah.
And then before you get on, you go up to the counter, you're like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, you just got to carry on. You're fine. So we'll take this check bag off. It's like, all right, word. So you go on, you put your carry-on in. Then on the way back when you're signing in, you go, oh, well, I didn't need that free bag, so I'll just mark it as 0. My dumb ass did that. And then I get there, and they're like, it doesn't fit in the thing, and it's not, the size of a newborn child, so you're going to have to pay $150. And I was like, but I get a 1 free bag with the ticket. And they're like, you marked it as 0, though. It's free at the check-in, but not at boarding. And I was just like, ooh.
And you have to do approximately 6 cartwheels before you reach the 3rd gate in security checkpoint. I don't know if you read that in the fine.
They handed us sheets to fill out, but no pen also.
That is one of the things.
They went.
And then people were like, one guy had a pen.
You're just like signing it in blood, and they're like,
yeah. And I'm like,
everyone, I'm here.
Yeah. Dude, I can't imagine. I can't imagine what it's like.
I brought the pen.
Right.
Everyone.
Right, you're like in a bread line with a pen.
Right.
Merlin's sword.
my brethren, I've come from long and far away.
I've come from the west.
As the savior of my people, I present to you the scepter.
And like, I can't imagine being unvaccinated. The amount of shit that it's like, can you get someone to verify that you're not sick, that you are, and that you're not It's like the most insane, shit.
That is one thing I do envy about Europe, is that like they don't give a fuck about their jobs over there, and I view that as a very good thing. I'm like,
I mean,
like, it makes me so uncomfortable when somebody's so eager to serve at their their job or whatever the fuck. Like, if you're gonna
this is getting into an interesting.
Well, that's what I'm saying. No one's in a fucking rush.
Yeah,
no one's in a rush.
Yeah. Well, also that it's like
there's not the threat of death and starvation.
It's not even
in the
just
service.
that. It's not even just that. It's just like, they're not falling on a sword to serve you. Like, ultimately, you can find a fucking pen. You're at the airport,
right?
If you could afford a plane ticket, you can find a pen.
Right.
Who the fuck?
You got to buy them at the shop. They're about 50 quid. That's
gonna be about 50 euros.
Sorry, it's gonna be about.
I love how we're doing
British accent.
That's gonna run you about 50 quid, love.
Yeah.
It's about
Dude, and that gotta keep your pens on.
I remember I was like flying into Europe at one point, and we like had a question about checking a bag or something like that, and dude could not help us, like on some shit that was like, in America they would like absolutely, wow, call the manager, let me sort it out. Right. This dude was like, sorry, can't help you, and then just was like,
started picking his nose,
literally just
turned away,
just back to us, not doing shit.
Sorry, like, I cannot be of service.
Sorry, I can't.
Sorry,
it's above
did you
me.
say something?
It's above me. I can't really, I've got.
Sorry, did you say something?
It's above me, love.
Maybe somebody will come by and
maybe
be
have
able
to kick
sort
it
this out.
upstairs. Somebody else.
I'll get the manager for you.
Maybe you could ask the person behind you. Maybe you could ask the person behind you in line.
We gotta do any customer service people. It's English accent,
right?
So no matter where on the globe.
The two things, like, okay,
watashi wa.
The one thing that like was so funny was like Americans being like, "Oh, everyone speaks English there," and it's like everyone will speak English there.
Yeah.
Like if your lazy ass comes up to me, I felt bad every single time I talked to someone because they're like, yes, the room is ready. It's just like, yeah, they do speak English, but it's like work every single time.
I mean,
and that was the one relief coming back to America was like, all right, at least most people speak English here, and I'm not like an asshole. Because like, it just feels bad when you're just like, yeah, I got nothing. Like I don't know any Portuguese at all, my friend. Sorry.
I took it.
Fuck Portuguese though. Also.
Yeah, it's a colonizer language, of course.
Yeah, it sounds like you're speaking Spanish and French.
It sounds like you're tickling someone, like, oh, like that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's like you're chewing food as you're talking.
It's like Russian. It's like it's a weird.
Obrigado.
Like, that's what it is. But you still feel like an asshole, just being like
kind of related. I wanted to respond to what you said I think what you said, well, both of y'all said, because you were saying that like they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But it's like,
about their job,
right? But it's like it's kind of the same out here, but it's like just in different ways,
right?
Like over here,
they don't give a fuck about their life.
Well, it's like over here, it's hopeless. Like you get a sense that it's like there's this coercive weight that's on top of them,
right?
Yeah, and that just gives off it's a very different vibe, and it's like juxtaposed next to people that are performing very seriously because they want to work their way up in the hierarchy.
Yeah, it's one or the other.
Right. So it's this very like bizarre. Over there, you get the sense that it's just lax. It's just this lax.
I think that's my point. Is like it's kind of just medium. A lot of the shit. It's like the food is just always kind of good. The service is always kind of acceptable. Everything's kind of always the same. No one's really like in a rush. Nothing crazy is really going to happen. Everyone's kind of taken care of to a degree. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know about that, but like in general, the living is.
It obviously depends, like where in Europe you are, but like
right.
Because we're not. Who knows? I've never been to Scandinavia, for example. I've never been to. I have no idea like what it's like.
Yeah, and also like just to the accent thing, like I was talking to a lot of different Europeans and I was drunk, so I would just immediately start making fun of them to their face every time. I'm like, fucking hell, like just going by a group of British people and be like, fucking hell, and they'd be like, fuck off, and I'd be like, it's like you just sound exactly how I'm imitating. And then there was this Scottish guy and I would get really drunk and start making fun of him, and that's just fun as hell. And then there was a woman who was like 45 and she was German. And I'd be like talking like this to her as well. Like it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's funny to just shove it in the fucking face.
It's so it's so annoying to be accurate with it because I would do it and they'd be like, "Oh, you can't even do the fucking voice." But I don't know, man. If somebody did an impression of me to my face and they were spot on, I would kill myself.
Yeah.
Well, it's different if you're black. But
yeah.
Well, the European comes over and then starts.
French guy.
In that case, I would kill them. But somebody's dying.
But if we were in a post-racial world, or there's some generic, there's some generic American accent, and there's a European person. It's like, dude, yeah, where are we going? Just right in your face.
Well, that's what they always divert to is just California. Everyone in the United States sounds like it. And it's like they do that to other European people. They're like, that's so funny. That's exactly how they sound. That's exactly how they sound on the OC. And just
or they go Southern immediately. It's like, I'm going to go hitch up my horse and talking to
Exactly.
So, it is almost always California, though. If you watch,
it's always like Valley Girl. It's like that's because that's a dialect, that's an accent.
Yeah,
you can't do the normal like fucking Microsoft Sam. Hello, how are you? Like you can't do the flattest bullshit.
That's either but that's what Japanese people will do. Funnily enough, the one thing I like my Japanese friends, they'd always go, okay, okay.
That's like TV. That's like TV news.
Yeah, but
that's like that one YMO album where he's doing that skit. Like
there's
making
a few.
There's
a few.
Right. Yeah.
But there was one of the so the woman I was talking to, who did that California accent, was like, "Yeah, don't I sound accurate?" She told me this rumor about Tom Cruise.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait,
And-
this is during the trip.
This is during the trip. This is at 2 a.m. in Pink Street, which is the defunct red light district, just strip clubs now of Lisbon. And this woman's there, and she's got 2 guys with her. One is presumably a gay German man. The other one's like a British guy, and they're all chill. Like, I just get the sense that they're like young and chill and not dumb. And this woman is telling me from reliable sources these rumors. 2 of them I'll tell you off air, but the one I'm going to tell you now is crazy. Just a rumor, but I'll take the hit for it on a defamation suit or whatever, if this blows up or
Yeah, you're not
whatever.
going to talk about me like that, okay?
Yeah, you know what? We're not going to talk.
No. Just very
Yeah.
brief.
Him with the Matt Lauer's like, you're crossing the line. You're crossing the line. I know that Australian guy. Yeah, he said. But, okay, so apparently on Tom Cruise's birthday, every year,
Oh God.
this motherfucker gets like a forest, right? He gets like a forest, and he has 30, as she described it, twinks in like all leather, like gimp suits, basically. And this motherfucker,
And they stomp his balls.
Tom Cruise, no, this motherfucker, Tom Cruise, parachutes out of a helicopter into the middle of these woods and does his own one-man battle royale to find one of these twinks and fuck them. This is apparently This is a rumor I've heard.
He Fortnites.
And I believe,
He Fortnites to fuck a
he
twink.
battle royale.
Fortnite fucks a twink.
Yo.
He does. And let me tell you something. I believe in this story more than I believe in it, God. I believe this is 100% true. I believe this is 100%.
Did she give you a year, like a stamp on
She
how
says it's
many
like
years?
every birthday.
I know every year, but I'm
Okay.
saying what for 15 years he's been
I
doing
don't
it.
know,
for
but
20
she's like,
years?
it's very believable because Tom Cruise, he does all of his own stunts. Of course,
And
he's gonna
guess
go out
what?
of a
John
That's the
Travolta
rationale.
Yeah,
steers the plane
Yeah.
that he jumps out of.
yeah, I would believe it. On some Scientology. Okay,
he
the other rumor I heard is that someone had to sign.
She didn't elaborate on that, by the way. Is that it?
No, it was just that was it.
And what is her connect? She works in entertainment.
She
like,
works.
and he does this in Portugal.
She heard it from people in entertainment, and no, I think he probably does this in America, probably somewhere. But he could do it anywhere. Who knows? Maybe it's like a sales kickoff. He does it in a different region of the world every year.
It's like, yeah, I don't really know many details, but he calls it Gay Pex Legends.
Gay Pex Legends.
Gay Pex Legends.
Start running.
The circle's getting smaller. The storm's
Really small.
The storm's
Really
closing
tight.
in, Tom. The storm's closing in.
That would be sick if he like played airsoft while doing it. Like
Right.
if he hits you with an airsoft. yeah.
He's probably doing that.
He's
too.
5'2",
right.
sprinting in the forest.
Yelling.
He's like Hugh Jackman doing the ADR for Wolverine.
Yeah. 100%.
Do you think he's naked the whole time?
No, I think he's like in he's like in a suit that like the dudes in like Tenet are wearing in the beginning. Like he's in like a full tactical military suit doing this with like his penis out or something.
I feel like in at least one of those attempts, he's tried to parachute into a butt.
Probably. The other rumor I heard is that Gordon Ramsay's gay and someone had to sign an NDA because he fucked someone. And then there's shit about Russell Brand that I'll just tell you later off mic. But anyways, I saw speaking of Tom Cruise,
Is this turning into Wendy Williams?
no,
A little bit.
that clip where she's like 2 million TikTok followers. He's dead. He was shot dead.
Yeah. Do you guys have you guys heard of him?
Yeah.
How you do?
Anyone?
But I have more TikTok followers. And he's dead.
Has anybody ever heard of him?
Yeah.
No. I never heard of him, but he dead. He's dead. He dead.
He dead.
He dead.
He died. He died.
The shit where she's dressed up like the Statue of Liberty.
She faints.
Yeah.
That was a omen.
That's
Yeah.
one of those Twilight Zone clips. Like,
Yeah.
For sure.
When that's-
I was just like, what am I? What am I watching?
That was like this-
cultural omen for sure.
Wasn't that the same week the actual Statue of Liberty, like the lights went out or some shit like that?
No, I never heard that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that happened.
That's fucking foreboding as fuck, if that's true.
The fall of Wendy Williams.
Yeah.
It's a moment to be remembered in history.
In the shadow of the fall of the actual Statue of Liberty.
Right.
But I saw the Top Gun movie. It was good. It was pretty good. There was a gay ass. There was another, like, it was a little self-aware. Like, they knew to add the gay stuff in. There was a gay Nerf football passing scene on the beach.
Yeah.
That I appreciated. But it was so funny because first of all, when I went to go see, I saw it at Williamsburg Cinemas. And then I sit next down to this woman who's like drinking coffee, and it's like 2 p.m. and it just smells like that caramel oat milk, like hot coffee smell.
In the theater?
Yeah, and I'm like, this fucking sucks. Like, I smell popcorn and coffee at the
Which
same
theater
time.
was it?
It's disgusting. Williamsburg Cinemas.
Oh, no, I gotta have my coffee when I'm watching movies. It's a tradition for me.
Right. And it's like right next, it's in the cup right next on my seat.
I can't fall asleep when I'm watching.
Yeah.
Look, man, I'm not going to pretend I haven't had a coffee in a theater.
That's fine, but, you know.
That's fine.
Don't
but
ever
I
do it
hate
again.
you.
Yeah, don't do it again. And then, like, right
refuse to
before it
back down.
started, like, 6 gym bros walked in. Like, 6 just straight dudes. You know, Chads,
Yeah.
like, walked in and, like, sat down to see Top Gun Maverick.
We're here
for the
cruise.
It's so
Yeah.
it's so funny when people are like, "Oh, I watched that. And it made me want to be a fighter pilot." And I'm like, the whole movie's about how the government has complete control over your career and the spending of any project, and
Right.
they don't care about you living. The whole point of the movie is that, like, Tom Cruise
You're a lackey.
is concerned about making sure the kids in Top Gun come back safe from the mission they're doing.
Right.
Versus, like, John Hamm, who's really good at playing, like, a Fed asshole square. Like, doesn't give a fuck as long as the
Right.
mission happens. Doesn't give a fuck if they get killed. Like,
Right.
they raise the parameters of the mission. Like, you can fly at a certain altitude where the SAM missiles will blow you up.
Right.
But it's crazy because, yeah, Tom Cruise in the beginning, he's like, comes on screen, he's like,
Yeah,
real
I saw that.
G's, real speed, real movie, and we made it for you.
And I worked hard to do all of my stunts just for you. My twinks, where you at?
I put in a lot of work just to make sure
Cut that
COVID
out.
protocols were followed throughout the whole process. See, my whole thing is that I'll start an impression and I'll immediately lose confidence. That's my thing.
That's cool, though. That's a impression of itself. I love a good bailout.
We
Yeah.
took about a month off from shooting and hanging with my twinks in the forest just to make this film.
The Twinks were wearing COVID masks.
I promise you. Yo, there's that clip where he flips out, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
When he,
Where he's angry because
COVID
someone wasn't
protocols, yeah.
wearing a mask and he's just spazzing on them.
Yeah.
That's so.
I see you guys one more time.
I promise
and you're outta
you.
here.
Yeah.
I promise you. Me and my twinks were COVID fortified.
Everybody was
They had the shields on.
everybody was wearing their PPE over their PPs.
Yeah. A shield over a butthole, just like that flaps up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like, I remember seeing a clip of him and the director being like, you really got to see this in theater. You know, how, like, there's so many movies, like big budget movies, where like you got to hear it in Dolby IMAX. You gotta. It is making a shit ton of money. It's made like probably 700 mil in the first 2
Was it
weekends.
good to you though?
It didn't blow me away as much as I thought it would be. You know, it was kind of one of those 4 out of 5 movies where it's like, okay, they did a really solid job, but it wasn't like spectacular.
Like a Roger Ebert 3 out of 4.
No. I
Roger
do a 5
Ebert.
system.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Oh,
it's
Roger
It would be
Ebert-
like a Roger Ebert 3 out of 4 or a 2 out of 4. I can't imagine it being
3 out of 4, probably.
So you think it's a good movie?
Oh, yeah. No, it's a good
It's a
movie.
good movie?
It's not
Okay.
great, but I mean, it is well structured and it's really entertaining. It has some of that Top Gun, the lulls in Top Gun, which are kind of like the long romantic stares and kind of the unnecessary, like, yeah, like there's a level of awareness that's really fascinating with it. Like they kind of leaned into the cheese, but it starts with like him getting in like an experimental like Blackbird. Like against the, it's a very like it's very much like Beverly Hills Cop, like you fucking like you pissed off an admiral. And it's like,
Give me your badge and your gun.
yeah, they're like, you could be a fucking 2-star admiral, but you're still a captain. Why?
He walks up to him and he just goes.
Yeah, give me the keys.
You know,
But yeah, he takes off on a like Blackbird and takes it up to Mach 10 like in space. And the first scene, and by the end of that, you're just like, all right, I am fucking locked in. Let's fucking go. And there's a lot of crazy, like fast,
Neolib politics
footage in it.
Neolib politics.
Well, of course, Top Gun. Let me guess.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Let me guess. The
I
movie
feel
with
was
Tom Cruise and
I feel
F-18s
like that's one of those.
is neoliberal.
It's one of those films where the CIA is in the writing room. Like
the DOD,
you know what I mean?
Oh,
the
every
DOD is
D.
in the
every D is in
Department.
there.
Yeah.
Every corner of the Pentagon is represented.
I was gonna ask if they're still involved with this. Like,
It's like a limited hangout
openly.
of rebellious, like, it's like, yeah, we don't listen to the stuffy admirals that want to that want to make everything unmanned drones. We're still in it for the fucking F-18s, the rush, man.
I'm not bringing my plane back in on time.
Yeah, I'm gonna fly by.
Fucking admiral, you don't talk to me unless you're a corporal or higher. Bro.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know our military ranks.
But there
like
is
that,
this
but
guy who's, I'm sorry, really hot, and he's the douchebag in the movie. He's the heel.
You don't have to apologize, guys.
But I'm sorry for how hot he is. Really, is really what I'm apologizing for.
Right.
And he's just got this triangle jaw, brilliant smile, and he's really attractive. And he's just like, "You hesitate, man. You can't fly this mission." he's like, you don't have what it takes. You hesitate. And it's like his name is Hangman because he always leaves you hanging. and then fucking Goose's son is named Rooster because he's always sitting there perched and he doesn't act.
Because he's
this
got,
is
he's
so
got the-
this is so not my type. Of
literally
movie.
went
we call
in
him
the
Rooster.
theater when they like this is Fanboy. One of the guys' names is Fanboy.
Oh my god.
They're like, this is webcam and Fanboy. They're
Tom
like,
Cruise was like,
I really want one of the characters to be named Twink Boy.
yeah, Twinkie.
We call him
Twinkie,
Rooster because I
Twinkie.
stuff him.
stuff him with cream.
Yeah,
We
that's
call him
probably why
Rooster
they
because
call
he's
him
got the
Twinks.
thickest cock in the game.
Well, there's a shot of him and Miles Teller.
The golden cock stuffed with cream.
There's a wide of him and
We
Miles
call
Teller.
him Swiss Miss because he's got the thickest cock filled with cream.
Holes. He's got so many holes. And there's a wide of him and Miles Teller. And Tom Cruise, I swear to God, is like a clear foot shorter than Miles Teller in this wide. And he's wearing like drag queen level like platforms. Like you can just tell it's like
He's
platform
serving.
Doc Martens.
He's serving.
And he's like, yeah. What's the matter with you, man? What's the problem? And oh man, but there are
Didn't he?
They put him in a
Some
high
sick scenes.
chair on wheels and just
Yeah.
pushed him. Just sit up straight, Tom. Just sit up straight.
yeah.
Didn't he? Didn't he like demand reshoots for like the volleyball scene? I heard they redid the volleyball scene and he demanded reshoots because everybody looked younger than him and he like gave them no notice.
You ever
he,
seen
like-
you ever seen that picture of the crash dummy that's like, this is what a human body would have to look like to survive a car crash? Like that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
Tom Cruise's torso looks like. It's like this rippling old kind of like
That, like,
weathered
That no
but-
neck brick
but
of a person.
just barely body like fat percentage is low enough that it's like screen ready, like that type of vibe.
Right.
It's very kind of mangled. But
Yeah.
he's 59. He's doing this shit.
Yeah.
And
Built like a Lego man.
yeah, it's worth a watch if you want to just go for just some fun action.
I'll
It's
torrent
cool,
it.
but it's crazy how much money it's making.
Yeah.
Movies are back. They
I'm
really are.
I'm gonna torrent it. I'll watch it illegally. once
Honestly,
it's available.
this is one that I'd be like, if you like going to the movies and like the IMAX and hearing loud shit and big scenes and
I hate the movies.
and audience interaction, this is one to go see
I
in a
hate the
theater.
movies. You know me. I hate movies.
But if you hate going to the movies,
I've
then-
never been to a movie in my life.
Is this
That's hardcore.
table wobbling bothering y'all?
No.
Oh, okay, the table's kind of. It's like it's
This
not a
or
subtle
yours?
wobble. No, yours. It's
Oh.
like kind of
I'm not.
every
Oh,
time.
no.
It's every time you sit on it. See.
That's partially why I'm not
Oh.
really leaning on it.
Oh,
No, it's this
yeah.
side. There's like little things on the bottom that you twist
Oh yeah.
to
Yeah,
level
yeah,
it. But if
Gotcha.
y'all aren't bothered by it,
No.
Yeah. I feel like as long as we're steady.
But I just thought that rumor was so insane because it sounds like a blind item or something. Like it sounds real.
Yeah.
It sounds like a real. Like that's too specific. I mean, if it's not, it's just a great rumor someone very creatively came up with. But
Yeah.
it sounds real because it's got that whole Squid Game elite high class thing
Yeah,
to it that
right.
sounds like something he would do.
Right, the little pig mask dude.
So if I disappear from the show, it's probably because of that rumor.
Right.
Just like, you know,
yeah,
Tom Cruise and Naughty.
it also sounds like something somebody would just say in passing, just like
Yeah.
knowing what they know about him, just like, yeah, he was just parachuting into dick, bro. It was crazy.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, you know, 30 twinks. It's like you do that 10 years in a row. That's 300 people. You got to have signed NDAs. One of them's bound to slip. So
I mean, yeah, right. I mean,
And
also
I'm sure they're getting paid a lot of money, each of them as well.
yeah.
Maybe
He's probably dropping
a year's salary.
$1 million or more every time
Per
he
person?
does this. No, I'm saying in total.
Oh, in total.
So even if you just split
30.
it that way,
Yeah.
you
He can afford to do it. He's worth $600 million. So
Yeah.
I looked all this up because I wrote a review of it. I wanted to kind of get a context for it. He's $10 billion at the box office. He's done in his whole career. $10 billion.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's done.
He's like
He
a
should be
one-man
done.
Harry Potter franchise type shit.
He should be done. Just be done.
That's what that was
Like-
the whole point I looked that up is because like he could have retired in the mid 90s.
No,
Yeah.
never stopping. This is what brings me joy and pride, and I love to bring people joy.
Yeah, I actually don't experience joy. Every one of these films actually it just brings me back to neutral. Otherwise I'm in a massive deficit, and I have to dig myself. I have to claw my way out with drugs and alcohol. These films are what are keeping me at baseline zero.
I feel like
He's
he's on
satanic.
some. I feel like he's on some crazy ass drugs. He's on that MJ shit.
He's on
Oh, yeah.
young people's blood, probably getting
Yeah.
intravenously
Yeah.
put into his body.
Yeah.
He's the reason all the like eating baby rumors exist, I think.
Yeah. He's one of those. Man.
Yeah.
He's definitely. Yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
he's creepy, man. It's satanic. Like he's like near tears in that first intro. Like he's so proud of him.
Yeah.
He's like, as we made it for you.
Yeah. Right.
Like he's
Oprah couch energy.
Yeah.
Oh my
right.
god. I feel like he was high on his own fucking fumes. I don't think he was on drugs when he did that. Like I think you're so
There's some coke in there.
I just,
maybe,
there's coke
but there's
in there.
you can
Somewhere
be on
in the
such a
Tom Cruise,
rush, such
somewhere.
a manic.
Yes,
No.
but somewhere in the Tom
Yeah.
Cruise timeline, there's coke.
Yeah, I feel like
Come on, come on, Tom,
like-
come on, let's go, come on.
You know that.
Yeah, I mean, of course.
thousands of times.
I love that you were miming a heroin belt while also doing coke.
No, I wasn't. I was miming just the
The heart.
He's punching himself in the chest.
Yeah.
He's getting himself amped up.
That's like that story where Steve-O and I think Mike Tyson did like a whole 8-ball in a bathroom together.
Oh yeah.
Wow, yeah, no, we got fucked. Yeah.
Yeah, me and
I got
Steve-O, we were just in the bathroom the other day, and we just railed this fucking 8-ball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We just really had a blast. You know, it was a lot of fun.
THT Evo.
I really love Steve. You know, he can really party like nobody else.
What was the context for that?
Probably,
It was probably
partying.
It was
raging.
probably. I bet it was after.
Yeah,
the,
it was after the MTV Awards. Dude.
I bet it was after that
fucking
Comedy
crazy.
Central roast. It was like,
Yeah, we were just after that. We were just in backstage.
They were in the
after
same
that.
one.
yeah, that was where Steve-O ran into his fist and broke his.
Oh, yeah, we
got a black. We talked about this a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you know, I really just wanted to make it up to Steve. You know, I felt so bad for breaking his nose and his whole body. You know what I'm saying? I really like broke his body to pieces. I wanted to make up for that with a little bit of cocaine. You know what I'm saying? I just thought, you know, just treat your friends nice.
My favorite thing about Mike in his interviews from the last like 10 years is he has this. Well, I guess really since his podcast.
Yeah.
Actually, no. There was a documentary. Maybe was it 2013 or something?
Oh, Iron Mike or I Am Mike or something like that.
It's really good.
I've seen it,
and
yeah.
really emotional. But he has this whole spiel where he's like, you know, you do it for the glory. You know, you do all this stuff. It's not for you. You know, I mean, it's for your ego.
Right.
You know, you're doing all these different things. It's really, you know, it will destroy any man. You know, you think you're a conqueror. You think you're really just gonna conquer every man that's on the planet. And you have to be in that mindset. You know, it's not good. You know, and that's why I'm trying to work through it. You know, because the glory is just it'll do things to you.
I love how he's inevitably like from
Glory
Brownsville. Like you can just hear it in his
Glory
voice.
boys.
Yeah. Right.
Glory boys. Just do it for the glory.
Chief Keef, I didn't listen to him at first because his name's so hard to say.
Yeah.
Thief. I can't do it. Yeah, I love how he's like more scared of himself than anyone on earth. Like
Right.
he's like,
Yeah, I just really.
I'm not scared of no me. No, I'm scared
it's like
of.
this is
I'm
fucking
scared.
nothing.
I'm
It doesn't mean anything.
I'm scared
They're like,
of-
Mike,
I'm
your
scared of it.
heavyweight championship belt. I mean, some
not-
people never accomplish this.
I'm not scared of no man. You know, I'm afraid of this right here.
Yeah.
That's what I'm afraid of. Because when you do it for the glory, it was just the glory. Yeah. This way, I just like saying glory in Mike Tyson's voice. It's something cathartic about saying glory like that.
I'm just afraid of what I could become, you know what I mean? I'm just, I've had dark times before, and I'm just really afraid of going back to that, you know what I'm saying? That's why I do a quarter of mushrooms every day.
Yeah.
He says some real shit though. It's
smoke
just
some
Yeah.
powerful. That Boozy interview is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Like
Boosie
Boozy Badass. You've never seen that?
with Mike Tyson.
Yes.
No, I've never seen that.
I
wait,
don't
I've seen
even
clips from
want
that, I think.
to. I don't want to give a play-by-play for
Sure.
it. It is like a movie, and I'm not saying on some funny shit.
Right.
And I know for a fact it's not this deep for Mike, but there's a part of this almost like anti-patriarchal bent to how he's approaching this conversation with Boozy, because Boozy's coming in
Right.
on
Boosie's
being
tough.
Boozy,
Yeah,
being
I do
himself,
remember that.
and Mike just is in a gentle and like graceful way interrogating toxic
Right.
masculine
Yeah.
I mean, if
ideas.
there's anyone to do that and immediately get
Yeah.
respect from everyone,
Right. I mean,
he's
because he's
probably
been at
the most like he's probably the most masculine, powerful warrior of the last.
No, but
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
they
he's-
even talk about homophobia, you know,
they
like
do, they do. I remember
in
that.
in the conversation, and he's, why would you do that? Why would you? It's your child, it's your kid. Right. And I it's like it's some good
I
ass.
gotta watch
No,
that.
it's some amazing just mind fuck shit.
Yeah.
And like Boozy is sort of like forced to really, not forced, but he's just compelled to shut up and like listen. And it's like, wow, like this is probably the only person who could have
That's
done
what I'm
it with
saying.
him.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like it's almost like Mike knew that.
How are you
Right.
gonna tell Mike Tyson like he's a
Right.
wimp?
Yeah,
you
right.
know?
Boozy, sit down.
Like, can you? I'm like, I'm excited by the idea of like what would happen to Mike Tyson if someone handed him like some bell hooks or something.
Oh
Like
yeah.
if he kept going a little bit, because he's still toxic as fuck. Like he
Yeah.
still
Oh
has.
yeah,
It's
I mean,
it's a part of me. I can't shake it. It's in me. You know. So he's
Yeah.
aware of it. He talks about it at that level, but like to really like unpack.
right.
Imagine like what a legacy.
This
Like the man that was the manliest man.
oh, if he
on
pulled
the
like a
planet.
Carlin where he had like a late stage career where it was like totally
Yeah.
like different.
Right, but
Yeah.
for a man, the manliest man,
Right.
right.
to critique and reject patriarchy, like a society that's about everyone being ruled by men.
Right.
You know, it's
I'm
like
just-
it's a profound idea. I feel.
I'm just picturing him like with an iPad, like the little Michael Jordan documentary, where he's like reading bell hooks, like,
Yeah, this chapter's about me.
This adds up.
This one, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I remember this.
little glasses on.
yeah,
Yeah, that would
Like
be
little
crazy. I
thing.
mean, he will to some degree still leave that legacy. It sounds like. I mean,
yeah.
his
I mean,
message is that this glory, like all the shit you were just saying to be funny, but it,
no,
that
it's
is
like,
his
it's
well,
real.
it's real, though.
It's
It's
real.
like-
yeah, his message is that he's leaving behind is very much that.
Yeah.
And people will take that and continue.
Yeah.
with it.
My whole thing is we're all a bag of contradictions. Like everyone is,
Right.
and to me, it's just about who is putting in the effort to try and like
Right.
deprogram and like decondition and like making a conscious effort to like just be a better human in
Right.
general. And I feel like he has that in him, but
yeah.
at the same time, he's Mike Tyson, so he's
It's
like
also
surrounded by.
derived a lot from pain and less
Yeah.
like
Well,
discovery as much. it
it's
seems.
from like knowing you were at the darkest parts of masculinity yourself. You know, he like straight up like, I don't remember if he went to prison, but he had a
Yeah,
rape
he
trial.
did.
Yeah,
I think he did.
yeah. I mean, bit off a man's ear, had a rape trial in the same span of few years. Like I feel like
Yeah, he was
having that part of those parts of yourself, like if
Dude, he
you're
was,
not
like, he's
self-examining,
he was heavyweight champion of the world before he could drink. I think
He's really
Yeah.
interesting on
Yeah.
the the rape thing, it's really interesting because, I mean, it's pure cringe. Like some of the interview, if you watch some of the interviews he's had on that, because he still claims that he didn't rape anyone, but then he simultaneously says, he said in this one interview that I stumbled on, like in this last year, like he said, like I didn't do it. He said two wild things. He said I didn't do it, but that doesn't mean like I was above that kind of behavior at that point in my life. And then when he was actually being interviewed in the time, he literally said, I didn't do it, but me going through all of this makes me wish I just did it.
Yeah, there was a Chappelle joke about that, or Chappelle.
He made like stand-up joke.
Chappelle made the point, like, I believe that's the only way I could believe someone didn't do it is if they say some shit like that.
Did he say that? Did he say that?
Chappelle
Is that I'm saying, is that recent? Like
no,
recent years?
no.
Oh, it's
That's
an old
like
one.
I think that's like when he had a couple of those Laugh Factory clips up on YouTube, like when he was still gone and he was skinny.
Yeah. Where he talks about
that was
Kramer.
like 2013, 14 Chappelle, like very rare Chappelle.
That was still skinny Chappelle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was funny. He was funny back then.
Yeah, that clip was great. He was like, "Yeah, I found out I'm like 80% or 20% black and 80% comedian." Because when Kramer was up here fucking up, was up here fucking up. Out loud, I was like, "Man, fuck this man." But then to myself, I was like, "You'll get him next time, Kramer."
Yeah, he's like having a bad set.
You having a bad set?
But
Yeah, that was a good clip.
to what Tyson was saying though, like, yeah, I mean,
But that's to the leg.
there's a lot of pain and problems there.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to that point though about everyone being a bag of contradictions and like trying to be better or like trying to find, I don't know. I feel like one of the traps, even in this conversation about like being better, quote unquote, is so much of the dialogue and discourse, even at the level of like crime and punishment and all of this stuff, it's all moralistic, which I think is a huge seed, like, of a problem in the entire conversation.
What you mean by that?
Like versus humanistic, is that what you're trying to say, or?
You could frame it as humanistic, but like what I'm really saying is there are logical reasons and rational reasons grounded in your own well-being and the well-being of those around you in your community to not do fucked up things.
Right.
As opposed to just be this vague idea of be a good person, or it's like a huge issue I have, and I've gotten some of the most intense arguments I've gotten into in the last decade have been with people where we're talking about some of the most fucked up people. Like they've done some of the most fucked up things imaginable. And the person or the people I'm talking to just keep circling back to this word monster. You just keep saying monster. Like he was a monster.
Right.
And I always end up in these tense back and forths because I'm having to like explain like, okay, when you're saying monster, it's like I think a part of it is you don't want to deal with and accept the fact that it was a human being that did this. And when you totally reject trying to look into what caused someone to do something, we all collectively are just enabling that more.
Right.
And there's like
By removing them from humanity as a
right.
Yeah.
If you can accept and acknowledge that they're a human, you can then begin to trace the steps and the paths and even the systemic elements, environmental elements that led to them doing what they did. There's a tiny percentage or percent of the human population where they genetically or physically there's a chemical imbalance in their brain, or something about their brain is off, and they're psychopaths or sociopaths,
right?
And there is a genetic physical component to it, and they can't help it, but for the most part, most of the fucked up shit that's going on in this world is coming out of socialization. It's coming out of people that were born in a time and a place and raised in those crucial developmental years under certain conditions that led them through a sequence of events to do horrible things that healthy people, I guess, I don't know what healthy people means, but most people couldn't even comprehend, couldn't. And I'm actually thinking about this a lot because I just watched this. I'm years late, but we were texting the trials of Gabriel Fernandez, and it's about these parents that tortured or it was a boyfriend and the kid's mother. They tortured and murdered her son.
Yeah.
And the things that they did to him, though, the specifics of the torture are just. It gets to a point where you're like. You almost start going numb because your brain can't like compute that amount of suffering.
Oh, totally.
For a child.
Totally a point where
it's
numb.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, like you're like it's so horrifying and crazy that you're like I can't even process.
No.
And there's a conversation to be had about both of his mother and stepfather. Or her boyfriend, but most of the physical damage that was done to him and part of the psychological damage was coming from this boyfriend figure, and the documentary doesn't. It's custom to when covering really fucked up things with serial killers or whatever to just. Monster, and then we call it we wrap it up and call it a day. And I think for some people, the notion of trying to, outside of fear, this baseline fear, I also think it's like, well, if we were to interrogate what made this person beyond their abuse as a child or fucked up parents, then you actually have to confront the institutional and the systemic. Then you actually have to confront capitalism and patriarchy, which those are the two biggest things that most of the time that's literally what it is. There's something about the nuclear family and the social economic conditions that the child is brought up in.
I mean, the patriarchy is huge because it's like that's where like the idea that violence is inherent to safety and inherent to structure and order comes into play.
And I do, and I don't know where y'all want to go from here in the conversation, but I do want to say, like, I feel like there might be men who, like men, straight men. They were assigned to sex, and that's what they identify with, and they are straight. Assignment. These type of men who, and I'm one of these men. I'm a straight man, but I feel like there'll be men who hear us throwing around this word patriarchy, and they'll brush it off or brush it aside for a lot of different reasons in their mind. And I say that to say I think it's like worth us being specific and like defining patriarchy, since we say it all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, like, outside of straight up defining it, I can just say that like being a free man is outside of patriarchy, and I think there's almost not a male chauvinism, but there's something encouraging about the idea of being a man in a society where you're not seen as a monster because of how a system is typically making you. Like, I don't know. It's just like it's
thinking about that time we were having a conversation about patriarchy on the subway, and a woman said she was about to cry.
Just because
we were having the conversation, that wasn't a flattering moment for us. It was deeply depressing, and honestly horrifying.
Yeah,
it's like almost the violence that you feel in someone expressed, not that from them, but the violence that you feel. It's like this is like a mad, crazy world, and I'm seeing a glimmer of light, but it's like the system of patriarchy is so fucked and so pervasive and so powerful across genders and sexual orientations.
I think something that's like worth exploring in general is how communal liberation, you can have selfish desires for that.
That's the point I was trying to make.
That is what's like
when I said moralistic, it's tied right to what I was saying. When we're talking about crime, someone did something fucked up or whatever. It's like, no, like let's unpack why.
I don't want to be a part of men. Right. I don't want men to exist.
But like, let's logically explain why that behavior doesn't help other people, yes, but also doesn't help men. Yeah. Right. And I feel like this is such an important conversation right now because there are so many straight or whatever men in the world right now that are feeling pain tied to feelings of what's the word I'm looking for? They don't feel. I'm having one of these brain farts again. You'll get it. They don't feel adequate enough. They
alienation. I mean, like.
The word that came to my mind is inequity, but that's not the word. It's something
inadequacy.
Else. Inadequacy. Yeah. That's the word I was thinking.
Inadequacy. I also think men think that they're worthless to a degree.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. But there is literally I think we talk very abstractly about value attached to people, but there is very specific monetary value attached to us.
I gotta pick on this thread though, because this is so important. Because I'm thinking about men that will be watching and they hear patriarchy and they're like, oh, these niggas are saying this shit for some pussy, or and
I hope those guys are watching.
Or they're because they're LGBT or they're friends with gay people. It's like pause on that for 1 second.
I'm happy to burn this joke I've been using right here. Like, I've never had pussy good enough to change my worldview. That's like
true.
It's just, but
that's not what this is.
It's not it's deeper than that.
But I want to pull on the inadequacy and worthlessness piece. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's the capitalism element of it. You got to make money. You got to have the status, the class system, whatever. But I do feel like there's this more social element to that feeling, and it's tied to ideas that are just silly. And it's like our whole thing is freedom. So it's like, free yourself of the shit that's making you feel bad. Right. Don't fall for the trickery of these grifters, the Elliot Hulses, the Andrew Tates. First of all, they are making money off of you. That's why they're doing why they're doing what they're doing. Second of all, they don't have a conception of freedom because they're still stuck in this loop that if you can reject patriarchy, you break out of, at least somewhat. You can break out of it in an existential sense. And I feel like the loop is tied to all different kinds of ideas that circle back to domination, dominating other men, having power and control over other men, and also the nuclear family. You have to have this family unit, and you're the head of it. You're like your own little king. You're you're a mini king. Yep. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't put it in these terms for themselves, but this is what it is. You know that you're not the president, you're not the boss, you're not the landlord. Actually, the best that you can do is aspire and then be your mini king and mini dominator in your immediate nuclear family, right? Yep. And it's like, wow, what would happen though if you could let go of that idea? Right. Who are you when you let go of that idea and how it defines your worth and even your place in this world? Right. And imagine how much happier you could be, even more sexually liberated, if that's what you're looking at. Right. If you could be grounded in those types of ideas. And to me, I feel like the best way to explain it is it's a game.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a game where you're not set up to win. Mm-hmm. The game of patriarchy, you're not set. Most men are not set to win that. Yeah. So why play it? Right. Why play it? You can actually just reject the whole game and go over here and do something completely different that's chill. And I'm thinking about Nick saying, when are we all just gonna be more chill? It's like,
right.
Yo, we're chilling we're trying to chill. Like we're trying to just chill.
Yeah.
It's like men, women, like non-binary, however you identify.
Yeah.
And even on that tip, like again with this domination control thing, you have to like, and there's a religious component to it too. Oh my God, this it's all intertwined and interconnected. But to me, it's like it is tied to imagination and tied to like how many men have ever even just questioned some of what they consider to be the fundamentals around any of these things.
Right.
You know, no, like a man is just supposed to control. That's just what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like we are genetically wired to dominate. It's like all these different narratives.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, you're identifying with some physical traits at the end of the day.
Yeah,
That's
and it's like,
basically
bro, you just consider the fact that like we are all allowed to have this little kingdom, fiefdom, whatever the fuck you want to call it, unto ourselves, and we have this free reign to dominate whoever falls into our dominion. Have you ever considered that also means that other people, if they have the power, can also dominate you? You're also subjecting yourself to that same dynamic where you'll inevitably be at the bottom.
Right.
Inevitably, relatively speaking.
And off of a false choice.
Yeah.
Off of a false dichotomy.
Like
there is another option.
Yeah.
There are other options.
Yeah.
It's not dominate or be dominated.
You're also, guess what? By constantly feeling status obsessed in this system, you're letting another man tell you what you do.
Right.
Yeah.
You're letting it tell you what to do. You're letting the fucking tail wag the fucking dog.
That's your daddy. Like that's your like
other men
paternal-
are your daddy. You're trying to impress. Every other man is your fucking father, and you're trying to impress them. This is why, like, in high school, I swear to God, like 8th, 9th grade, right? Like, sports are happening. I'm not big yet, but, like, you know, I'm whatever, and I'm in football or lacrosse, and we're doing Oklahoma drills, which are when two men lay on their back, and then a coach blows a whistle, they stand up, turn around, and tackle each other. And they did not give a fuck if you were 5'2" going against a 6 foot fucking 300-pound kid. They will do it. And I was like, you know what? I 1,000,000% don't give a fuck about this enough to break my arm, sprain my ankle, do this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
This is terrifying.
Right.
I'm not going to be ashamed that I'm scared of this. I'm not going to be ashamed of the fact that lacrosse players are whizzing balls at like 70 miles per hour at people's dicks. I don't want to get hurt. I'm going to do musical theater. And I was like, when I turned 13, 14, like that era, when I made that decision of just like not giving a fuck about this whole matrix of fucking, because I was in an all-boys Catholic school, I just was so much fucking happier.
Yeah.
And no one could tell me shit.
Right.
How the fuck?
Dude, but
Like,
you
bro.
look like a fucking pussy, dude. Like you can't lie, dude.
Right.
You fucking turn down sports for fucking what? Musical theater? Like that's kind of gay, dude. Like come on, man. You gotta admit that, right?
Like I would just
I'm
tell
just
people.
like I'm as you're saying this, I'm just hearing. I hear the little Jekylls like
Oh, yeah.
the
Yeah.
gremlins,
I was-
the toxic masculinity gremlins.
this
like
is how I would stump them. They'd be like, "Why'd you quit sports, dude?" And I'd go, "Because they scare me." And it's like, what do you say to someone when
dude,
they
that's
just,
weak. Men aren't supposed to be weak.
And I was like, I'm scared of the ball. I don't want to get hit in the fucking eye socket with a lacrosse ball.
Yeah.
And they were like they had nothing to that because it's just like,
You know what's wild?
this guy
Is,
doesn't
like,
give.
I come from like a
Wait, he cares about his body?
Right. And meanwhile, my
That
dad,
is
God bless him,
weird.
fucking played high school football all the way through, and even played rugby in college. And he got like a concussion so hard in like junior year of high school, was out for half the season. I mean, concussions are fucking serious, man.
Yeah.
And
Like,
it's dumb. It's dumb.
For
why?
Yeah.
To impress who?
Why?
Absolute
Nobody.
fucking no one's.
Right.
Men who are on Facebook now in their 60s, like not even knowing how to crop a fucking screenshot on their phone, uploading it to Facebook.
Right.
Those are the men back in the day that you were trying to impress socially.
Right.
So it's just like you have to realize that like who the fuck are you actually trying to impress?
yeah.
No,
What's
but
funny is like
I-
when I was in.
I don't want to. I'm not gonna. I'm just. I want to put a pin in the incel. I want to come back to the incel corner of this conversation too. I think it's like really important because the violence. What was the dude in California? Elliot Rodgers.
Rodgers,
Yeah, I want to come back to that.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that was it. Oh, this is.
Yeah, I said I wasn't
Okay,
trying to
no, I
cut
was
you off. I
just-
just wanted to.
Oh no, I was just gonna like to that point you made. It's like I I kind of bounced around schools a lot, and so I was kind of in between a lot of different cultures growing up, and a lot of different expressions of masculinity, and a lot of different expressions of homophobia. Where I didn't. So like, I went to black school early on, and then I went to like a probably like 50-50 black and then Latino school in middle school, and the way like the like mostly Mexican kids in Atlanta expressed homophobia was so different from the way it that the black kids expressed it, that it kind of canceled it out for me, to where like the black kids, if you like the mild insinuation that you did some gay shit was like, oh dog, what the fuck is wrong with you, you're gay or whatever. The Mexican kids I grew up with would just like pretend to be gay as a form of homophobia, and that was what they did. And so I remember just like being at the intersection of both of those. Growing up at the intersection of both of those, I would pretend. I remember like I still played football in my black neighborhood, going to school with these Mexican kids, and I remember like it all kind of clicked for me and just undid so much conditioning when when a kid like came up to me and was like, yo bro, you're gay, and I just went, oh shit, who told you? and then they freaked out, and in my mind I'm just like, oh, I thought we were both, oh okay, right. Damn, I guess it's all I guess it doesn't mean anything. No, it doesn't mean what I thought it did. And I'm just kind of like.
And real quick before you get to your, I just want to say, like, there's nothing wrong with being masculine or stoic if that's your nature. There is a place for that. There's like, if you protect the people you love, if you hold shit down, if you work fucking hard, if you just like, I don't know, make people feel safe, that's like where masculinity is great. Like, but it doesn't mean you serve a higher purpose than anyone else in the family and the community and anything like that.
When it crosses over into that area of controlling and violence, and that's not just against other people, that's your fucking self. You're hating yourself because of an idea of a man that you feel you have to live up to. You know,
when you're imparting violence on behalf of other people just because of some values or morals that you ascribe to them that they don't necessarily agree with, but they are under your
look at what you're sacrificing for. What you're sacrificing, your own humanity, your own love of self, all of these things, for who and for what? That's the question you should be asking yourself.
Even just physically your own safety, just beyond.
If you beat the shit out of someone, they don't, unless they're dead. They'll find you again, and beat the fuck out of you harder, and even with probably a couple other people.
And even if they never do, bro, don't your hands hurt? Your hands don't hurt.
Like, come on, man.
All of this is reminding me, though, in Gabriel Fernandez's case, a part of why he was tortured and beaten was because his quote unquote guardians thought he was gay.
Really? Wow.
And his mother's brother was gay and had a gay partner. When she gave birth to him, she didn't want him and was going to just put him up for adoption. And her gay brother and his partner said, no, like, let us take care of him. We'll raise him. And through a sequence of events, they ended up, the abusive mother and her boyfriend ended up getting Gabriel when he was a little bit older. And then that's when this hate crime kind of shit started, you know?
And I think that kind of leads up to a point that I wanted to get into, was just this idea of the nuclear family or the single family household, where this is not your business. How I raise my kids is not your business. If you get involved, that's a violation.
Yeah, exactly. Your kid goes to my kid's school, though.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, nuclear family is, husband, wife, and then kids. White picket fence. That's everything.
And a much newer concept than we believe.
Definitely
historically, humans have lived communally, in community, beyond just the immediate parents, extended family, friends.
And they
would
still
raise.
do.
Yeah, in a
That's
lot
a
of
class-
places.
That's a class
Yes,
thing.
yes, and a lot of, but it's also a
'Cause what do you
cultural
need for
thing.
that? A house. You need property.
It's also
Yeah.
a cultural and colonial thing. There are
Yeah.
other,
Right.
there are indigenous societies and not even non-indigenous communities, even here in North America, that
Yeah.
don't operate that way.
Right. It's
You
a
know?
purely a status thing that we've all adopted because just maybe just material wealth has gotten so broad to the point where like the bottom rung of society is a little bit higher than it used to be.
Yeah.
So more people can afford to do that. But also a lot more people can afford
they
to
can
just live communally.
They can afford to keep up the lifestyle
The
illusions
the
that make
illusion,
them look
yes.
closer to the king.
Yes.
That make them feel like they are
Yeah.
they're a mini version of the king.
Yeah.
It makes me
Right.
think also about like how like, families like usually like I don't know, historically they would like grow up and die in the same area. All the families and all the extended families will live close. But now it's like, oh, I live in New York, my sister lives in Colorado, my family lives
Yeah.
in St. Louis, all this shit. It's like, oh, because we all have these like respective game paths. We all
Right.
have these different save files of
Right.
how we want to fucking play this game, and it requires us to move to all these different places.
Yeah.
That was a great reference in play on words.
But yeah, it's like it's weird,
Yeah.
It's like it splits it up. It splits up
Yeah.
all the shit.
And like to bring it back to like my experience is like my mom is Nigerian, grew up in Nigeria, went to school in London, and moved to Atlanta where she doesn't have a connection and no real incentive to like connect me to people where I live. I never went to school in my neighborhood even because what reason do we have to be attached to this
Right.
geographic location? So I'm like, my sense of community, even beyond just where I grew up, is like, it kind of fucked me up at one point as I realized I don't think anybody has known me for my whole life. Like, outside of my brother, my dad, my mom.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, everybody is like in these maybe 3-4 year chunks where
Right.
they know a version of me where I'm just like, even I don't know if that was the real
Right.
me, because I have no sense of like shit to ground me in.
Right.
And it makes me feel like I'm crazy sometimes because I'm just like I tell people I'm from Atlanta, but like, do I really know Atlanta like that? And really,
I feel
grew
that
up-
same way about St. Louis to a degree. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a smaller city, but it does feel like I've meet people that are like they are St. Louisans. Like
Yeah,
they're from
right.
there.
And
St.
it's
Louisans.
St. Louise.
Yeah.
But like even where I did physically grow up in Lithonia, like I wasn't there my whole life. I didn't go to school there. Even when I did go to school in Lithonia, I didn't go to the same school as my brother. We didn't have the same friends, and so it always felt like
It's very fractured.
it's fractured, and so it feels like it's made it a lot easier in my life for me to bounce around from friend group to friend group. I was always the dude that was like cool with everybody, but nobody really like knows me. And so it's always made it it's always made that possible. It's always made it possible to just like kind of vanish on people
Right.
and to sort of like instinctually reinvent myself in certain contexts.
I've known some kids like that growing up.
Yeah, and it also makes it a lot easier for you to be sort of like abused in that sense of like an Elliot Hulse or like a whoever
Right.
else, to where you feel no connections to the people in your life. You feel no reason to keep them around unless you like really build shit with them like we're doing right now.
Right.
Unless you really build institutions with these people, but like nobody really feels the...
And when you're young, it's hard too. 'cause
Yeah.
There's all this young, like when you're a young man, especially.
Yeah.
There's all this bullshit.
Right. I mean, I remember like situations where my brother would be like hanging with his friends and I try to join in. And this is just granted partially just big brother, little brother shit, but like that impulse to be like, nah, these are my friends. Go get your friends.
Right.
Like, we both live in this same neighborhood. There's not that many kids here.
Right.
Like,
right.
if those aren't my friends, then I don't have friends.
It's also
and I don't have community.
super like
You know?
not underrated, but it's like people don't realize how easy it is to just be like, fuck this new kid.
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy when there was a kid that I think joined our school. I had been there since 6th grade. It was 6th through 12th grade. And there was a kid that showed up in 11th grade. And if you think that kid had it, like, it was tough for that guy.
Oh, dude, I moved. My mom moved neighborhoods when I was in. It was in middle school. I don't remember what grade specifically, but I remember like first day in this new neighborhood. I just like rode a bike past somebody's house. A bunch of kids were hanging out outside, and I looked over. I thought I recognized somebody, and I stopped and I was like, wait a minute, is that kid? And they saw my lips move and they thought I called them a bunch of bitches, and they don't know how it worked out, but they chased me home. They chased me to my door and told my mom that, and that was my first day in that neighborhood.
Wow.
And so I lived inside
Yeah.
for my entire middle school experience. Like, I think I remember 3 or 4 times I went out and like hung out with somebody in the neighborhood, but like,
I can't help but feel like the childhood torment and all this shit is unnecessary. Like, kids don't have to be so goddamn mean to each other. I feel like it's a part of what we're saying too.
I feel like this is tied to the point about the systemic and the lack of community too, because even the thing of these are my friends, these aren't your friends, is tied to a proprietary logic that this entire country was founded upon.
Yeah.
You know, putting lines in the ground, partitioning the earth, and then laying claim, making up your rules, forcing those rules upon everyone,
Right.
and then making everything about, you know, it's an input unit that I control and that I'm monitoring, just like the currency in my bank.
Yeah.
And this is my land and this is my house, and you can't be on my property past 7 p.m. There's an ordinance in effect, and you know, it's like all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, man. And that way of developing where like you're expected to just like lay claim to a new land, like having been the product of somebody who was doing that, like just to bring it into our space, like if we hadn't already decided to build this, like the way y'all are connected a lot of the time, I'm like, oh, they got it. They got a friendship. I don't need like my instinct is to remove myself from situations and try to be more grounded in like myself.
Yeah.
You know? Like because we have this like this need as a society to like this whole shit with like relationships where it's like you got to be a whole person before you bring somebody into your life. Well, it's like there's value to that, but there's also like why do you need to be so secure in yourself as an individual to the point where you don't need anybody else, and then bring in somebody else who's going to feel like an inconvenience even, because that's how I feel in relationships a lot of the time. You know, I feel like I've created all this space for myself, so bringing somebody else into it sucks. Like they're interrupting my reading time.
I think that's a really good point. Like, it would be nice, you know, tying it back to the men thing. Wouldn't it be nice not to have to be so goddamn strong all the fucking time?
Yeah.
Like, not have to be so fucking self-reliant all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, like that bit, like that's bit older men that I know in the ass a lot. Is they never asked for help. They didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't. And
That's
they
most
fucking
men.
wasted decades of their life.
That is most men.
Yeah.
Point blank. Period.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, they're ashamed of asking for help. They're ashamed of the inadequacy.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Ties into ego stuff. That's actually directly connected to the Elliot Rodgers conversation.
Well, yeah, and it's like the you when you add, you know, probably what's abuse or, you know, something like that, you add this feeling of inadequacy with this like feverish need for ownership, propriety.
Sometimes it doesn't have to be technical textbook abuse. Sometimes the abuse is inherently the social systems that we are living under and exposed to when we walk out of our home, into the school, into a sport, going onto a sports team, anything.
Like Elliot Rodgers didn't understand why women didn't want to talk to him or date him or kiss him or be romantic with him.
Yeah.
He also thought women owed owed him something.
Because
he was owed
the
something.
idea that I live in this system that where like the idea that I'm just inadequate by the logic of the system is almost too much to bear. It's literally psychotic.
Right.
And that's
because
why it
you've
makes
invested
people
in
like
it.
that psychotic.
Because you've invested in it.
Right.
And you're
because
not
it's
getting
like,
your return on investment.
Well, and it's like I can't imagine that the logic of the system that's been portrayed to be in media and socially and all this would be wrong.
Right.
So either I am an inadequate human being and should kill myself, or I should kill a bunch of people because this shit is fucked.
Right.
And it's like they don't have anything resource-wise to grab outside of that like dichotomy.
Right.
And
or anything that's put in front of them or anything that they stumble into.
Right.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Right.
Right.
And it's like it's crazy to the level of I don't know, yeah, it's all connected. Like the violence of the partitioning is then put into the mind of someone like an Elliot Rodgers, and then it's affected onto other people.
You see, it's all these layers. It's the ownership, it's that layer of it. It's
the inadequacy also.
It's exactly what I was gonna say. And then I'm also, when I'm thinking about ownership, and then this thing about the mini king and the nuclear family, it's like, oh, I'm not the big boss out there. But in here, I get to be the big boss. It's like kids in a sandbox, that fucking mentality.
It's all existential. It's an existential nightmare because it's like, you're telling me that I live in a fucking game and I'm just one of the Goombas in Mario that gets fucking stepped on? Like, you're telling me that's my life? I'll fucking kill everyone. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It's horrifying.
Right.
It's horrifying if that's the barriers that your mind is in.
Yeah.
No, but this is something I would call the LARP of patriarchy.
Yeah.
These violent, it's not LARPing because it's like, I guess it's having real violent impacts on people. But
it's RP.
it is LARPing.
Can happen in real life,
right? But that's what I'm saying. It is like a LARP in the sense of it's tied to a mythology.
Right.
It's tied. It's informed by a mythology.
It's constructed, but it still affects you.
Right.
Which is the through line of all this shit.
Right.
It's like it's made up, but it has real life consequences.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, we know why most men are going to start off with that mythology, because those are the values and the norms and the standards that damn near every single major institution in this country is going to indoctrinate you with.
Right.
So it's like, I feel like a huge part of the solution is just letting people know there is a whole nother logic. That's the way I describe it. It's a social logic, because it's like it cuts through all these different areas of your life and all these different categories. If you start thinking cooperatively, if you start thinking in terms of consensus and consent with people in your life, you're not just full steam ahead, steamrolling over people to get to this dumbass idea you've never even interrogated. Right. Every step of the way, you're being in tune with yourself, or trying to be in tune with other people, and saying, what do you think about this? And you're actually being vulnerable too. Right. And it's like it's this thing of like letting go, and that's harder to do if you have trauma, and especially with an abuse with parents that manipulate you and psychologically torment you in all these different ways, and you actually have PTSD that makes it hard for you to open up and be vulnerable, because there was a time in your life where you didn't have a choice and something was forced upon you, especially for men. But saying all that to say that I feel like there's huge potential just understanding human history for us to carve out an entirely different paradigm right now, and especially it's like the most crucial time for this to happen. This has to happen now, or else it's a redux of fascism into just complete annihilation of the entire fucking human species. That's the juncture that we're sitting at right now. Yeah. And it's like the cooperative, consensus, consent, changing ideas around gender, sex, and how we're living together, our labor, the land, all of that stuff is the next paradigm.
Yeah.
Business as usual isn't going to cut it.
Right.
And that's sort of like the cognitive dissonance on that people can see what the fuck is going on at an existential level, and for whatever reason just go no.
Well, that's what
no.
our whole lives we've been taught to think that way. It's so, because every time I've had this conversation with anybody, it's never like a but I don't think that's. It's always like a yeah, I've always thought that.
Yeah.
But I've had it beaten out of me my entire life. Every little, everything that you like people try to condition you to believe that these thoughts are childish, that we don't have to behave the way that we do, we don't have to exist the way that we do. Like the notion that an adult man would cry. And I think it comes down to this differentiation partially between childhood and adulthood.
Yeah.
Because there's this notion that once you get to a certain age, you need to stop all this bullshit, crying, being sensitive and all this shit. I was a sensitive ass kid. I used to cry at every little thing. And like, granted, I would be annoying as fuck if I kept doing that as an adult, but like, let me have some of it.
Right.
Like.
It also gets to this thing of like you're talking about this distinction between adult and child, and it's like, it's real on a biological level, sure. Yeah. But there's also this thing of like, it's that children should have rights. Children have human rights.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Well, like I said all that to say, like the free thought that you have as a child, they're purely just like observing shit and saying this is how it is, and I see it in the world. It's that way, and it's not supposed to be that way, or it's not that way, and it should be. The fact that because you're a child and you just got here, we get to tell you no, you didn't see what you saw, and so we grow up convincing ourselves that but that can't be what it really is. And then the second somebody else confirms it for you, you're like, oh yeah, fuck, I thought that from the day I was born.
Well, that's the point that I think like has to be understood also, is like, if you are striving for, if you want this shit, if you want it, like, we don't have to build something new on top. Like we do, but like we don't. It's not inventing shit. It's already here. Going back to shit that's like,
it's already here. It is already here. It's drawing and conjuring it more of it, stirring it up, cultivating it. That's why I use this word, cultivation.
If there is a human nature, it's on your side for liberation. Like, it's on your side. Like, that's part of the reason out the womb in its most natural state, humans are like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, you think this is human nature? Where's the fucking nature anymore? Look around. There's not nature anywhere.
Right.
I want
there's no people in nature.
I think about that all the time. Like, why the fuck do we have laws against littering, dog? That's what this shit is. What do you mean?
I want to say, though, on children's rights, though, that it is also about a part of the problem ties right back to hierarchy, and I think it also ties back to internalized oppression. Because when you have an adult who in their daily lives to pay the bills and pay rent, they're subjecting themselves to this top-down, class domination and hierarchical exploitation, and then they're coming back to the home and they're looking at a child that in their mind is more free. They have there's this tension, I feel, in different parents of, well, I'm not free, and they're never going to be. They're never going to be free, and I'm treated like this over here. I got to let some of this steam off on my kid, too, and it just kind of dovetails organically in that way.
I'm totally.
You get what I'm saying? It's just a convenient. No, we're not going to make this a democratic home. My child's not going to be in a democratic school. We're just going to make sure. I'm a cog. My kid's going to be a cog.
Yep.
And there's even this resistance to, when some of these parents see that their children aren't going to take the same cog pathway that they did, or they're outright rejecting it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, what are you doing? We're not free over here. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? No, get back in line.
Right.
I'm in employment line.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and we have this impulse to defer everything. Everything, cuz we all have this sense that like shit could be better. There are ways to make this better, but let's like institutionalize all these ways of putting it off for years. Like you get to, as a kid, you get to have rights once we've drilled all this sense of freedom out of you. Once you're 18, you've been in the school system and you've been taught how to follow orders and reject your feelings and all these things. And then once you're there, once you have those rights, then you can have all that free time back once you've worked for 50, 60 years of your life. And now you have all this freedom back that because you've been conditioned for this amount of time, it'll drive you fucking crazy.
Yeah, and it's
'Cause
never
you have
real
that
freedom either.
No. It's
yeah,
freedom, it's freedom from work. That's it.
Yeah,
and
but I'm saying in the maximum sense, and it ties it right to what I wanted to say is there can't be children's rights because there aren't human rights. There aren't human rights for the people that are older,
Right.
biologically.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
Right.
So I feel like you, even in this talking about Gabriel Fernandez and at that level and that age, you know, there's so many. It's really this thing of like how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go with this conversation about children's rights and human rights? How far do we really? How seriously do we want to even take these? Because most of the time when people are saying human rights, they're talking about it at a legalistic, proprietary level.
Yeah.
You know, under the Constitution, every citizen is guaranteed.
They can't search your car.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Right. Right.
Right.
But it's like what happens when we start to get to the roots and the seeds of what this is, of the abuse. You know, so you can't look at what happened to Gabriel Fernandez and just go, oh, it was just he was a monster. It was a hate crime. It was because he was gay. I mean, yeah, it was. That was a part of it. You know, or they didn't have a lot of money. It's like, well, yeah, that's a part of it. There's a class component to it. But so you can't limit it to any one of these categories.
It's like senseless is another word that gets thrown around. It's like, no, to them it makes sense.
It made sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
It made plenty of good
they
sense.
might not admit it to you in court, but
Right.
there was a logic in their mind, and odds are it's directly tied to what you believe in, Judge.
Yeah.
Right.
What you believe in, cop.
Right.
Odds are he's actually just acting in the extreme on the values that you actually claim in your church.
He's taking everything to its logical conclusion. 'Cause
Right.
That's
Right.
where it ends up.
Right.
Right.
That's where it ends
No,
up.
this is an aberration. It was a fluke. It was a mutation. You know?
Yeah, it's like, okay, so you tell the whole world that queer and gay people are groomers and pedophiles,
Right.
that are like eating children,
Right.
And then, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Pulse nightclub.
I mean,
Oh,
dog,
what?
Oh, that's weird. A man killed
What a psychopath!
a man killed a child because he thought the child was gay. Wow.
Yeah.
right. It's like
Like,
we
go
have this
fucking
fucking
figure.
denialism. You know what I'm saying? Where we promote these ideas and then pretend we just I don't know. It's a coincidence. Like this notion, like if you go on like Shade Room or some shit like that, and there's a post about like a trans person, all the comments are like, oh, alphabet people, they want this, they want that, they're dominating the media, all this shit.
Bro, most
and then
people-
then oh, what a coincidence, they're passing anti-trans legislation and all this
Right.
shit, and we act like that's not a direct result of what the fuck we're talking about. What the fuck we're doing.
If the internet is your lens for like, and it feels more and more accurate because more and more people are on the internet, and I'm sure there's algorithmic reasons for it, but I mean, based on what I see on Instagram, on TikTok, it's just like we really haven't gotten very far at all.
No.
Like in anything, it's if anything, it's fucking much worse because the
Just
Gen
giving
Z-
just giving us a closer 4K look at what the fuck is
Yeah,
going
and
you know
on.
what
it's like Gen Z is in this constant historical refreshing period where it's just like there's no physical like through line.
Yeah.
It's everything is just kind of like burned down and remade so quickly that it's like I don't know, they're just so much more vulnerable. Like,
well, and you know what? They have something legitimate to be mad about because a lot of these legitimate causes that we're talking about are being co-opted by a liberal like structure that also doesn't give a fuck about this shit. Like you've got the conservative people responding to like cops at Pride and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they're they're responding to shit that is obfuscating what is actually going on. You know,
I mean, because liberals support capitalism, and capitalism supports and reinforces all the other shit, white supremacy and patriarchy.
Yeah,
and it's all interlocked, and it's all reinforcing, and everyone stands on one plane or another, or there's overlap, and they don't want to give up the bulk of what, you know. And that's why it's like, that's why you see in the liberal framing, they can kind of just limit it to the identity thing and go, oh, you know, white men. And it's like, sure, if we look at the statistics and we round everything, round the numbers and average it out, and you look at the fucked up shit, and you're gonna see a bunch of white men there. Yes. But it's like, if you begin to interrogate the social logic that all of these white men are standing on, you see it's this much more elaborate labyrinth and web with people all across the spectrum. Across the spectrum
all
are sitting in
tricks.
different places in
thousands of years, man. And it's like, it's that this logic that, like, I would hope that, like, black people across the board are able to unpack and see through a lot easier, but then we're being drawn into this because we've been on the defensives for so long that we get drawn into this logic, and sometimes are even more fervent about it. And
it's internalized depression.
It's internalized depression.
That's the term I was using before.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's like,
it's the same. It's another iteration of that same thing of the mini king.
Yes.
They're fucking me out here, but I'm gonna fuck everybody in here.
To where, like,
anyone I could get my hands on.
Right. And so in a black or other communities, it can go to then a community level. Oh, I'm gonna be the top in here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be like the white man in here.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and it's to the point we can act like a separate. It's a separate logic.
Right,
within
you act like
black
you're
community.
not doing the same.
Exactly. It's like,
no, but a white man did it. It's different.
yeah, and
you know?
there's always this labyrinth of like, well, the reaction was that you better have that same energy when it's a white man that you calling out. When you calling out a white abuser, a known rapist. Look at Harvey Weinstein. He wasn't even in jail. It's like, look at all, like, it's like we gotta at some point just zoom out.
Yeah, zooming out and question the quote unquote 1, 2, 3s of this shit.
Yeah, and
just
like
question the fundamentals of this shit
Right.
for 1 second.
Exactly.
You think you know? It's like no, we know. No, that's just how. It's like, trust me for 1 second.
Yes,
and really like follow me here and question that thing that
it's-
you are assuming is the way that it just goes, the way that it's always been. I promise you, it's not.
Right. It's not. It is not pro-black to say that I, as a black man, get to have a bunch of black women as my vassals,
Concubines,
right. You know, like, I don't get to have a cult of black women because white men have had me under their thumb for all of history or all of modern history, the history that we know of and or grow up learning. Like, that is not pro-black, and it is not fun to me. It does not sound fun to have to be domineering.
But even pro-black, it's like, we're not a monolith.
We're not a monolith.
I don't fuck with all black people. I don't fuck with all white people. Any category. I fuck with people who share our. I'm not responding to you. I'm just responding to the notion.
Yeah,
it's one of those ABC 1, 2, 3 interrogated things. It's like, what does that mean?
It's crazy how it's all connected too, because then you look at like, I don't know, you start to think of like how you're going to take down an authoritarian state by presenting a more formidable people-driven.
You're using very strong language here, Connor.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Well, can you elaborate on that?
Well, just like when you think about, okay, well, this has fucked me, but I'm going to be the ruler of this. It's like, you know, okay, American authoritarianism or fascism's fucked me, so we're gonna fuck them back with the same,
right?
You know, we're gonna kill the billionaires. We're gonna put them in guillotines, and you know that's gonna solve all the fucking issues.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
just wipe them out, and everything. The world will be restored, renewed.
Yeah. Let's not solve the fact that like you can't go into a comment section without, you know, 400 people trying to kill each other. Like, like that's still gonna exist if there's no one owning any of the companies.
Right.
And greed and, you know, all the exploitation, all of that stuff.
Yeah. It's really really funny to me the way like
It's a pyramid of pyramids. I'm sorry, but that's the best illustration I could give. That's
Yeah,
why
no.
I keep coming back to hierarchy. It's a pyramid of pyramids.
I
Just
haven't-
because you're a pyramid down here in the lower rung of the gigantic pyramid
Right.
doesn't mean that it's not a pyramid.
Yeah.
Right.
It's still fucked up just on your scale at your level.
Yeah. And it's
So
like,
how do
it's
we
not
break
even-
it? Maybe if you break your pyramid at the bottom of the giant one, all the pyramids can start to collapse. And then what do you know? The giant pyramid made of pyramids isn't here anymore.
Right.
Maybe it's a cylinder or something.
A rhombus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's rings.
It's my
you
favorite
know?
shape name, rhombus.
Yeah, rhombus.
And real
That's
quick,
like-
I just wanted to mention too, like just this acceleration of history and how it doesn't make sense that we have like 1930s like street militia, but we do.
Yeah,
and they have
right.
phones now. Like that Patriot Front story. I don't know if you saw that.
In the
like,
U-Haul.
I don't know. Maybe.
Oh,
I
there's
mean, I
another
saw
one.
like
they were in a. They got and went into a U-Haul and they were about to storm an LGBT.
Yeah,
rights
they got
rally.
arrested. I just saw that
Yeah.
they got arrested, but they had bats on them and guns in case people pushed against them and they were going to kill people.
Yeah.
And they were wearing like,
preppy boy stuff with like.
well, they were wearing. We were saying it's like the Django Unchained Clan member, like,
It's like
outfits.
Right.
the OG like Spider-Man as a wrestler like
Yeah.
Clan
Yeah, like
outfit.
before the
yeah.
Klan had the fits.
Yeah.
Like that's what they were dressed as with like the ball caps and the khakis, and it's like, dude, that's like so fucking bad. Like that's such a bad.
It's also
sign
lame.
of
Yeah.
It's not gonna fucking matter how lame it is.
Yeah, but I'm saying there's no sweat, there's no drip, there's no swag.
swag.
Of course not.
Even aesthetically, there's nothing. It's like what are you
I
wearing?
mean,
Sperry top
the
cider
fucking
boat
Nazis,
shoes.
the
like-
Nazis were dressed like UPS milkmen running around beating people over the head. Like, they look lame as fuck too. Like, yeah,
the brown shirts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That those are the postal. They look like the postal.
yeah, they look like they're
workers.
Yeah,
no
delivering
disrespect.
boxes to
no
your door in the
disrespect.
30s.
With the little shorts and long socks.
Yeah, my bad, UPS.
No, some of them are fly, some of their. I've seen some like UPS and USPS like fits like
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
that are
Oh yeah.
fire.
I like the USPS guys who got the real high like 5
Yeah,
inch
yeah,
inside
yeah,
shorts.
and it's like
Yeah,
crisp
the-
and
And they're
iron.
jacked and shit.
what's it
Yeah,
called?
yeah.
Like I'm gonna get this mail to you.
the,
Get through your door.
what is it? The Hoochie Daddy shorts.
Yeah. Hot boy summer style
Yeah.
shorts. But yeah, like it's just I don't know, like
You were talking about the Patriot.
well, just like we were talking before we got in here. and we were just like what is it going to take for like, one of my family members or something to be like, "Hey, faith in the system is just maybe not something we should be holding out on." And I'm like, I feel like the village has to be burning down at that point for some people.
But
I think
I feel like another village has to be building up. That's
Yeah.
a part
Well,
of
that's what we
that's
were
a part
saying.
of the finesse. That's a part of the finesse. It's like this kind of switch.
Right.
Yeah.
The people have to see the corrosion and then a thing that's more logical, more rational,
Right,
and
working.
that will feed them
Yeah.
and that will take care of them. Right, working, and then they go, well, now this is the convenient alternative, and I
Right.
see it, and it's clear to me. But if
Yeah.
if something corrodes or is ripped entirely from underneath people, that to them just means just everything. There's an end. It's like a black void or violence, or in a lot of cases it is. In a lot of cases it is. There's a vacuum. There's a power vacuum. You know,
Yeah.
it can get worse.
Well, and the tighter the vacuum, the faster the motion.
Right.
I think the reason Bernie was such a feverish thing, I think the reason a lot of these, the unionization movement kind of thing that's happening right now, it's like when someone sees something doesn't even have to be working and convenient yet.
Right.
People just want fucking anything.
Right.
So if you
Right.
show that something's even just functional,
right.
it starts to catch on really fast.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
And that's what we were saying about people of a certain age, maybe 45 and up. Like, even the ones that are down, it's just like they're so old that they're like, bro, like, yeah, I'll fuck with you, but like, it's gotta be working a little bit before I jump.
Right.
In.
Yeah.
Like, there's a
Right.
lot of people.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just the case.
Right. And to a degree, it's fair. It's like they've invested so much in this shit, and they found a comfortable spot. It's like, look, man, you're about to die soon. I get it.
And I also get that, like, you've been alive for a long time and seen absolutely nothing change. In fact, it's gotten worse. So I can
Yeah.
understand a young person coming to you and being like, this will work. Like, I
Right,
can understand
right.
you being like, okay, well, why don't you just go ahead and show me that it works?
Well, I also think the objective reality is that most of those people haven't actually explored alternatives.
Right.
So you have an, for lack of a better word, educational component or informational component to it. So yeah, if a kid is coming to you, that's one layer. But then if you literally don't know what they're talking about, you don't have any historical context or strategical context for what they're proposing to you, you've never even looked. Yeah, why
well,
would
And
you
it goes
give a
further
shit?
with the dissonance thing, because it's like you can explain all of it to them, and they'll go, "Yeah, that makes sense." But then, like, their whole shit is wrapped up in, "I built all this off of this system, so
Yeah.
if I'm gonna lose all that, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to go to a younger person and be like, "No, but don't you see how this is fucked?" And for them to maybe get involved, whereas like an older person, it's like there is that phenomenon where it's like sometimes they do have the education. Sometimes you can just lay it out and they won't disagree with you.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe partially why, is because they're so invested in.
But it is
Yeah.
different. It is different than a one and done presentation versus a lifetime of searching and a lifetime of an instinctive like, there's got to be something. There's got to be whatever. It's like,
Yeah,
you're putting this in
lap,
front of me, and sure, it looks great on paper, but what does it mean? I mean, what's it going to do for me?
Yeah. Part of the problem is a lot of them have done everything that they can imagine, and that's a big part of it. Is their imagination
Everything
is
they
limited
can
because
imagine, right?
Yeah, because they
Imagination.
have no frame of reference. They haven't looked beyond our immediate history and seen any other version of. And even a lot of the times when they do, you can project all of your values that we have now into the past, or into different species and all these things. Like you can say like, because one ape was behaving a certain way, they have a hierarchy, and we
Let's
have to
not.
have a hierarchy. I don't want to get deep into it because I don't. Yeah, but like you can project all of those values into every permutation of everything.
I'll just say Gibbons exist, people.
Yes.
Go hit the Wikipedia page for Gibbons.
Look up gay Gibbons. And
Yeah.
then come back.
Gibbons.
Gibbons.
I also think it's just like it ultimately is an existential thing. Like it's just like, fuck. Is my whole life and existence and environment a lie? Fuck.
Right. Well, it's also
It's like it's like the dropping into the lap thing. It's like even if it drops into your lap, it's just like you're gonna think today on a fucking Wednesday I'm gonna fucking and I think this is why maybe the three of like in one respect or another, and I mean this in the literal and metaphorical, and it varies by case, but for people with in our kind of mental space, we're suicidal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
Existentially
Right.
suicidal.
Right.
This, I would rather die. I would rather. I can't stand this. I can't.
Right.
There has to be a certain death
Right.
that some people just won't ever go through.
Right.
Yeah.
Because but once you have that death, once you have that rebirth, you said on one episode you've never felt less cognitively dissonant in your whole fucking life.
Yeah.
Some people, almost like the ring, it just like wears you thin for your whole life.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing. There's no solidification to your soul. You're just like thinned out and you die.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, it's tough to die, but once you get past that, it's like, fuck, you're finally like alive and tapped in and awake.
Yeah. I have the advantage of having achieved everything I wanted to achieve when I was like 13. And so I hit 30 with all of those accomplishments under my belt, and then some shit I hadn't planned on doing that I would have been geeked about as a teenager, and now I'm here and I'm just like, huh.
Right.
So I just keep grinding. Okay.
Right.
I do that again so I can get the next thing, and then I can get the next thing, and then what is it all? These are all things I hadn't even imagined, and then ultimately all of it adds up to just doing advertising for some entity, just fucking making reels for Instagram to sell people on the idea of reels because they're trying to compete with TikTok, and like you get into this cycle of thought that is just like, especially under the circumstances of like being in COVID, where I'm in writers' rooms from home and all this shit, you start to feel like a fucking Matrix battery. Everything I can do from home, and then I can
for someone else.
For someone else. Right. And I can order food to my house. I never have to leave my fucking house. Functionally, I do not have to leave the house.
Yeah,
you know,
hamster vibes.
Yeah, and you get to this point of just like, what the fuck am I even alive for? I've built this little kingdom for myself. I don't have. I have all this. Where's it going though? Where is it going? I have all this self-sufficiency. I've built up all this enough sustainability to where I can work. Maybe I can get a new job once a year and work for 5 months, and that's it. I don't have to bring anybody new into my life. I don't have to bring anybody new into my space. And all of the things I need to survive, I can just have shipped to me.
See,
I never have to speak.
And then you miss the one thing that we really do need to survive, which is community and the social.
Right. Yes.
That's what gets lost.
Exactly.
I think also, like, if you tie this back to religion too, like existentially as a kid, I used to get like horrified at the thought of heaven.
Yeah.
I used to be really scared of infinite consciousness. That used to terrify me. Yeah. Like it just keeps going and going and like I used to scare myself.
It sounds tiring as hell.
Dude, I remember being at a Mexican restaurant with my family trying to have a nice time and like a fucking consciousness battery like clicked on. I was like, wait a second, infinite time? I was like, what? And I think that's an important part of like why maybe people don't give a fuck about their lives on Earth is because they think it just lasts forever, and that community part ultimately is about life persisting in this reality,
right?
You know, not just in heaven everything will be taken care of and perfect and shit.
What a convenient narrative.
Yeah, and that's what
we don't have to take care of it here. No, don't touch that. Don't worry about that.
Right.
We'll take it when you're not here physically. It will be taken care of.
We got it. We got it.
I promise you. No, just leave it alone, please.
Just trust us.
Yeah.
Trust us.
Can you get him, please?
Yeah. No.
Pull your guns out and get him, please.
No, we got it. When you
chain him up, please. Thank you. I love you. By the way, I love you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean when I say everything gets deferred. You know what I'm saying? We have such a what is it now? I can't think of words. Like advanced, just system of deferring things systematically to where like, I mean, there's this like kings used to have to like cancel all the debts at a certain interval because to the point that it was institutionalized because otherwise you know for a fact people are going to revolt and they're going to cancel the debts. So you have to do it, and it's all just like these people co-opting the shit that the people they rule over were going to do anyway. You know, bring it under their watch and under their care so that they can, you know,
you got to keep the illusion going.
You got to keep the illusion going.
Got to keep it looking legitimate.
You know?
Got to keep it looking legitimate. This is all that there is.
Exactly.
Don't go over there. Hey, don't go over there.
Don't look behind the thing.
Okay, if you just look over there, we're gonna have to come over there and grab you.
Buddy, don't read the Chinese documents on statecraft. But that's for us, please.
I also feel like we're in this like nanny regime now with the United States where it's like okay, everyone just relax. COVID, we'll take care of it. Everyone we'll get your work's done.
Yeah.
Work's done. Don't worry about it. Because they know we would lose our fucking mind.
Yeah.
Because they're like, okay, like it's just.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing over there? Hey, get over here.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Now you got to go back to work.
Yeah.
Hey,
we took care of COVID.
How's that?
COVID's over.
How's that?
It's not over? Oh.
You like not being in work? How about go back to work?
Yeah.
Everybody go back to work. Shut the fuck up.
Dude, Elon Musk be like, actually, if anyone doesn't fucking go to work for exactly 40 hours a week, you're fired. And it's like, good luck keeping the stock price up doing that, buddy.
Right.
Good luck.
Good luck keeping that up. Period.
Yeah.
Friend.
Right.
People are going to fucking tackle you in the street. Like, are you kidding me?
That Mars spaceship will not be ready fast enough.
If you're a brilliant engineer and you're like, oh, yeah, the clout that I get from working at Tesla, yeah, that's definitely worth having to be in person 40 hours a week or I get fired at the drop of a hat. It's like, I'm sorry, it's the buyer's market right now.
Right. Yeah.
Like, no one wants to do that shit, bro.
Right.
Like,
Right, bro.
what
I'll
a
go-
lunatic. See, he's not even doing the king canceling the death shit.
Yeah.
He's being a total fucking fascist.
They're all doubling,
They're
tripling
techno
down.
fascists out
Well,
the
because they have,
ass.
because we have this illusion that he's gonna get checked by somebody. Who knows? Or he's doing what he's doing is good. He made, or
Dude.
he has like moral, like honor or whatever the fuck because
Yeah.
he has this much money, and we as
Dude, and the fact that he has that much money, it's like,
you know what I'm saying?
this shit is not real. One person
Yeah.
can't have that much
Like,
shit. That's how I
yeah.
know this shit's about to end, because, like,
Right.
no one should ever have that much.
Right, like, bro, look, fuck you. I'm a good engineer. I'll go work for Hitachi.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
I'll go work for Hitachi
Actually,
making vibrators, bro.
Billionaires don't hold their will.
Bro,
Bill-
We're gonna have to
fuck
pull that.
guy.
Billionaires
I'm gonna
don't
have to
hold
pull
their
that
dildos.
because we're referencing it so
Honestly,
much.
should we tell whoever's editing this, just drop that in right now? If
Yeah.
I can find it.
Just drop it in on the.
Drop it in right there.
No, we point at the TV and
Yeah,
freeze it.
This is why people hate billionaires. Because that $1 billion being hoarded by one person, billionaires don't hold their wealth.
Yes, they do. They have $1 billion. They have $1 billion. And I get what this guy's video was. Actually, they don't have $1 billion. They own things and shit. They have $1 billion worth of things. Their net worth is $1 billion. It's one person that has the decision power for that much money. They hoard their wealth. But thank you for explaining.
Okay, there we go. You've seen
Right.
it. Doesn't that guy suck?
That guy sucks.
What a dick.
I'll have to find it, but billionaires don't hold their wealth.
Billionaires don't hold
They
their
contribute to the
dildos.
economy. They build businesses. It's like,
They contribute to the
Nah,
economy.
I love my favorite thing about that TikTok is you're just kind of like slumped like this with your headphones like half on your head and you're like, no, I know like what you're trying to say. No, they're still billionaires.
they have a control of billions of
Yeah.
dollars.
Right.
Like, no, they do good things with it. And it's like,
You sure about that?
Yeah.
I've heard
Name
that they
them.
jump out of planes into forests full of twinks.
yeah.
That's what I hear they're doing
Right.
with that
Yeah.
money.
It's like the U.S. doesn't have nukes. They just have them in case someone else fucking has nukes. That's the only reason. It's like they still have the nukes. I don't know what you
Right,
mean.
those nukes could go off at any point in time, my
yeah,
friend.
they can go ahead and take them and use them.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But yeah, fuck Elon Musk. And yeah, it's like, I don't know.
Man.
These systems, man.
These
It's hilarious. But it's just like things are accelerating at a rate where it's like,
I don't want to. I really don't want to cut your train of thought.
no, you'll probably jump off of it. Go ahead.
Well, no, I do think it's a tangent, but it is related.
I'm just saying there's more opportunity
ahead.
for like the fact that Gen Z is on this total like, I'll just fucking do whatever. I have no historical context. What's World War One? You know?
Yeah.
Here's the
There's more
question I want to
opportunity.
ask: how many billionaires, or just rich people in general, and this is including people who are now, because of crypto, they got a fuck ton of money. How many of them do you think would be class traders if they knew? Or even if they just had the information put in front of them, they could see an alternative route. They could see like what the funds would go to, and how many of them do you think are too far gone? And I'm asking this question almost in the name of Paulo Freire and his point about how, you know, processes for systems change have to be processes of humanization.
Right.
You know,
I mean, I think the first answer is we're gonna fucking see. Is gonna be the first answer. We'll fucking see.
Yeah.
I think we'll see if the shit that we're talking about more concretely cuts through. If it can cut through at a cultural level, that's when I think we'll really see. And what I mean by that is there are people in the thousands, if not millions, talking about dual power or talking about
Right.
an alternative, just as I put it, paradigm. I don't even think paradigm is the right word because, like, as you pointed to, there's like a social logic that's ancient that's been going on. I mean, we cooperate with each other every single day. It's just that our labor and livelihood for most of us isn't connected to that.
Right.
But how it's like, I wonder how many.
I think it also has to happen.
Yeah, if
There
we're
has
gonna-
there has to be one or two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
if
That
yeah.
just go. You got a point there.
Like, all right, I have 100 billion. You guys can have.
I'm gonna be good.
40.
I'm gonna be good
Right.
for the rest of my life. My kids are gonna be good. Well, my kids won't have a future if I don't put some of this. Yeah, no, you got a point there.
Right.
You got a
Yeah,
point.
I hope.
Yeah.
It's a hopeful thought. It is humanizing, and it's quite refreshing to think that could be the case.
Yeah, you don't expect it or hold out or move thinking that will happen.
It's not baked into the strategy.
Yes, exactly. But it is.
So
It's a
get the
thought
billionaires
experiment.
on our side.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a thought experiment.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now we get into which ones would do it. Which
Yeah.
ones would do it? I think Andre 3000. I think
He's a billionaire.
No, not a billionaire,
Oh.
but
LeBron
he's rich.
is.
He's rich.
LeBron.
Maybe. Do you think?
LeBron has I get pure energy from him.
Yeah.
And that is a powerful thing.
Pure
but
being
it can
like-
also be. It can also mean being naive.
Yeah.
And easily getting wrapped into things that aren't productive.
Well, yeah,
or
I mean,
aren't
like,
helpful.
remember when there was like that fucking, Cuban Missile Crisis of fucking the NBA? They were
Yeah.
not going to play the playoffs, which
he
was
let-
billions
And all
of dollars.
all
on
that
the
had to
line.
happen was Obama just stepped in and went.
Yeah.
Go play.
Yeah.
Go play.
That's literally that's literally what happened.
Yeah.
Hey.
He literally came in.
Yeah.
Oh, let's stop this.
One of the most
I think you should go
satanic
play.
things that
Yeah.
any human's ever done, really, in recent
Yeah.
years. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I
Really,
mean,
the NBA.
but like the implications of what that could have been and what
Yeah, right.
That was some
how
intense hyperbole. That was probably
Probably the worst
if
thing
we
anybody's
really
ever
took
done.
account of everything humans have done all throughout history.
Daniel, whatever you mentioned, I don't know, Obama stopping the fucking Game 5.
Right.
I don't know.
Hitler.
Yeah.
Obama with the
Since
NBA.
1945, probably.
Right.
You know, that
Yeah.
was a Kissinger level.
Chattel
Yeah.
slavery. I feel like it was all wrapped in. That power was all wrapped in with that move at the time.
But I mean, how fucking dark and cynical do you have to be like this has nothing to do with you. You're a fucking former president. It has no
Oh,
effect
it has
on
a
you.
lot to do with the
Yeah, I guess
status quo and the establishment.
Why
Yeah.
don't you?
Ruffling too many feathers
Yeah.
over here.
I'm going to need you guys to go out on the court and reinforce this vague notion of nationalism, just on a very vague level
Right.
that people can relate to, but they don't really see
I
how
think
it's operating on a broader level.
When times get tough,
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Let me be
alone.
clear.
Let me be clear.
I think he literally said donate to BLM instead or something like that. I think that's
Yeah.
literally what he said.
The nation pulls together.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I think about that in relation to Nanny State and the
Yeah.
quelling. And
that's
it's
what
like,
it
that's
is.
why my whole thing has just been like, please, can we let go of
Yeah.
America? Can we let go
Yeah.
of just
Well, they're
I mean, bro,
they're smart because it's like I do have a small I do feel like there's a small thing where it's like, okay, the economy's crashing, but they're getting really good at the economy crashing. Like they're
Yeah.
getting better at that.
Yeah.
Because the bailout fucking happened, and then they're like it'll be like kind of like I see COVID as like a biological bailout. Like that'll happen again, but it'll be like a little bit easier. You know, people will be more familiar with the masks and the vaccines and shit.
And that's the pattern I've seen over just reading about like history across like thousands and thousands of years. Is just like
I'm sorry, you just did a little Jay Leno.
Terry Hatcher. Terry Hatcher.
I thought you meant me. I was like,
Yeah, I did it first. and I
A
was
little
like,
bit
what?
easy.
yeah.
Sorry.
But no, I just like is that it's always been this like this very long process of convincing your subjects that like it could be worse.
Mm-hmm.
The last guy was so much worse, isn't it? Isn't it time we finally got back to basics?
What are you doing?
What?
We got more jobs than ever before.
Now
we
I'm thinking
got
of Jay Leno being like, that was one of the most satanic things in the last 20 years. That's probably the most satanic act anyone's ever had in the last 20 years.
We got more jobs and less Mexicans than ever before. We
Does
got
anyone
more
remember the
people.
NBA?
I mean, you really want to talk about class solidarity. I mean, it's pretty,
I think he's just a
Does anybody
white.
remember when Obama?
I think he's
really
just a-
class has class solidarity.
I think he's just a white Mike Tyson.
Him and Mike, there's got to be an interview of the two of them.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Anybody ever tell you got a kind of a funny voice?
Glory, Jay. Jay Leno, the glory.
Tyson, big guys, yeah, though. What do you do?
Hey, Mike, you like cars?
Hey, Jay, the glory just gets to you, Jay.
It's funny as fuck to me that for Jay Leno to do a Mike Tyson impression, he's got to put bass in his voice. Everybody else
That is true. That's it.
Terry Hatchet.
Platforms like YouTube, Patreon, Spotify, they're all ass. They don't respect your privacy, they're riddled with ads, and they're completely silent and unreachable when you need help. Have you ever talked to somebody at YouTube? Think about that. I sure haven't. To top it all off, we don't control them at all, despite being the reason they exist.
So that's why we're partnering with a design and development agency called Sanctuary Computer to build our own cooperative alternatives that bring the best features of all those platforms together and that we can control together too.
We seriously got to have an exodus to some sort of digital Zion that we build ourselves. Somewhere where all of us can actually have a say over the technology that we're using to communicate with each other. For more on how you can support us all in getting off these shitty platforms, visit opencollective.com/digital Zion and tap in.
Just because these dystopian systems are eating themselves alive
Doesn't mean they got to take us with them.
That last point I was just saying, it's just been a lot of like, because like in these big debt crises and all this stuff, like all these new faiths pop up that are a response to that like economic crisis. There's always a wave of intellectual thought to respond to that, and then there's always a corresponding wave of the state figuring out how do they co-opt that into their infrastructure and how they use that to push people into this exact same dynamics, which is how you get like Buddhism adding this being used by the state and adding this idea of karmic debt, which is reinforcing this idea of primordial debt that we have to pay just infinite money to the gods.
Someone's been reading David Graeber.
I've been reading a lot of David.
I've been so funny.
Dog,
You read, you can just see who's pulling from what all the time.
Bro, I'm being very like, right? Dog, I've been literally
Graeber, page 5.
Yeah.
right. Dog,
I used to be able to give pages at a certain point.
Dog, you ever read so much that you feel like you've learned nothing? I'm kind of.
No, that's real.
I'm kind of at that point where I'm just like, okay, what the fuck? How do I make sense of all this?
You're
shit?
inundated by it.
Especially when you do build relationships with academics that actually want to make themselves useful to broader movement building and people and education, which David was one of those people, and
right.
Also David Wengrow,
and I mean you can tell he's really just trying to guide the shit in the direction of the shit our instincts are telling us is true, but the people have sidelined for generations.
But again, it's like the logos though. It's like it's not stretching shit.
Yeah.
It's like again, I think we talked about this with relation to Jaded and like the ethos of it, but it's like with Graeber or other people, it is this, we are acknowledging the brutality. We're acknowledging how fucked the odds are. Yeah. We're acknowledging all the reality.
Right.
First, we're starting there.
Yeah.
Now let's move from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when you meet people who are kind of like these treasure troves of like information, and they have all of this historical context, and they can get to into the minutia of all these different historical events, and they can just tie everything together. That's where for me, that's a part of where hope comes from. Is understanding that we did do things in different ways, but I can also see here on the timeline why it didn't work out, and I can see here on the timeline what they actually missed and what they fucked up here. And then I can see here what we actually have an opportunity to do that they didn't have to do, and it gives us more of a chance to do something.
Right.
Treasure trove is accurate, because when I hear Graeber talk, it sounds like I'm listening to the future. Like it sounds like I fucking found like a treasure map on the back of the Declaration of Independence, like in that fucking national treasure. It's like, whoa,
right. And
he was talking about this in Charlie Rose 2006.
Right. And it opens up your modes of thinking a little bit, like in the sense that what struck me, because I was just reading both Debt and Dawn of Everything kind of side by side, and just realizing the way that we project our values into the past, and just in something as concrete as naming these different ages of time as like breakdowns of society.
There's a term for that, but I'm forgetting. I'm having another brain fart.
Yeah.
Are you talking about I think you said it like one of the first days I met you. You said something like
I know. I'm having a brain. My brain is not
it's
on
like
100.
pastism or some shit like that.
Yeah, historicism or whatever.
Yeah, but just the way we
I remember it,
like the way we name certain ages is like post-classical or pre this, postmodern, whatever. It's all in relation to something that we've decided that we value, you know.
And
Presentism. We take everything in the past and assume present morals and conditions.
Yes,
on them.
exactly. And so like these ages where people have existed in the ways that we're talking about and outside of not necessarily like broadly outside of hierarchy, but outside of these systems of domination, you know, and we refer to those in a way that implies that it's just a breakdown of society, or it's a crumbling of institutions that great men built, you know.
Right.
And the reality is these are eras where people broke from that shit and realized what the fuck was going on, or they knew the whole time because we have intelligence of what we're capable of doing, and what like indigenous people have always had this sense of like, we don't do that because it'll grow into this, it'll snowball into this, and so it's just people seeing their opportunity to get back to what they knew they could have had the whole time.
Right.
And I think now we're in an age where we're so deeply indoctrinated to where we can't even see the version of the future that we want to build.
Right.
You know?
Well, that's what Gen Z is. Like, that's my whole point, is like they don't have even anything in recent history to look at.
Yeah.
And so
they don't even have as much of the communal first-hand experiences of childhood. They've had their
sound
tablets.
like fucking ancient dinosaurs, but like they didn't run around hitting each other with sticks outside.
Right.
They didn't like.
Right.
They like. I can't imagine a parent now just being like, yeah, go outside, run around, and just come back before it gets dark.
Yeah.
Like, I can't. And that's not some fucking I was born in the 60s shit.
Right.
Yeah.
That was honestly pretty fucking normal up until a couple of years ago. I mean, maybe they do that now, but
we didn't grow up just touching grass. We were in the grass.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah, we got grass stains on our fucking jeans and shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, we sound like fucking boomers, but it's like,
Hey,
this shit is real.
hey, frat. Go outside and touch some grass.
Poor Pop was a bad dude.
It was a bad dude. I love your Biden.
It's so fucking funny.
My Biden is like a poor man's Connor.
Yeah.
Connor
Biden is, how you do Biden? He's always doing a speech. He's always talking to hundreds of people.
Hey there, frat. I just love the like little lags, kind of like it's just the cache is
Right.
like not
He
not
talks
clearing.
He talks like the audio is not synced all the way.
Right.
He's like, I'm gonna go out to the store and I'm gonna get some ice cream.
No,
I'm gonna get 2 cones. How many cones you want?
Even beyond
You want
the
2
grass.
cones? I'm gonna get my 2 cones. I like 2 different flavors.
I'm going to get that one cone with like the dual thrusters on it. It's got 2 swirls on it.
I like hairy legs.
Hairy legs, and they'd rub them in the water.
I like a waffle cone because it's a little thicker than a sugar cone. I like the way it's sturdy. You know, it's sturdy. It holds up after it starts dripping all over your fingers.
Thick like a dick.
Yo, but beyond
Sugar cone, the napkin gets all stuck up in the threads.
You start licking the napkin that's on
You start
the
to lick the napkin because you lose the sense of differentiation between the napkin and cone. And that's where we are as a society. Is it's all napkin and cone. You never know which is up and which is down. What's napkin?
White napkins are just as good as waffle cones.
you used to be able to go to the Dairy Queen and grab a bundle of napkins, and now we gotta preserve all the resources in plastic and paper. I asked for a plastic bag at the Dairy Queen. They wouldn't give it to me.
We've been atomized to the point where our sense of self is about as thick as a sense of a sugar cone. You know what I'm saying?
Your Biden sounds like he's going to debate Cosby or something like that. Yeah. He's getting a little bad on this. Biden.
I'm trying to get that slur that drag that he has sometimes. It's not clear and like powerful. Sometimes he just
I always got to say, hey,
exactly.
You
gotta go to the Dairy Queen. You know,
Why is there no Dairy King?
Where it's just like inaudible, and then you get the last couple
right?
words.
Yeah, exactly.
Give it democracy. You read the Constitution.
You people are interrogating the nation state. I mean, what has come to this country?
We as Americans, we need to interrogate the concept of hierarchy. Hierarchy and domination.
I was going to say beyond the grass, though.
This is what that dude was talking about. This riff. Deviating from your point.
Yeah. We purposely went as long as we could.
Right.
But the grass, like, the grass is whatever. It's like, it's the social relations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Again, to overuse this phrasing, but it's like, and again, we've talked about the church, and we've talked and how fucked up organized religion is, but at least this notion of there are these spaces outside of the nuclear home where a kid can, be fed or get certain social needs met or whatever it might be. And we're talking about generations of kids that literally have not had that. They've had school and then probably the tablet, and it's obviously not a monolith. I'm sure there's regional components. I'm sure there's going to be kids that when they're our age, they're going to be like, yeah, no, I played outside and it was normal for me, and like we all
right.
blah 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 blah. But you definitely get this sense that like things have become more atomized and more fragmented for them. So in terms of imagination, it makes it even worse on top of the broader conditioning that we're getting, because it's like they don't have personal experiences or even emotional sensations to grasp at, to even hold on to push them. It's just this almost mechanistic.
I don't know what your imagination looks like when you have so much reality in front of you. That's the thing that fucks me up.
Yeah.
Like,
sound like Bookchin now.
I mean, like that. Well, like the phone. I know it's some boomer.
We have to come back
shit.
to the imagination. Nordic mythology. Nordic mythology.
And a hierarchy.
And the workers' movement was a very popular movement. Like I could get him. But like having a phone before like having true boredom, like it's some boomer ass shit we're saying, but like it's just fucking reality.
We're not casting any type of judgment on them. It's the situation they've been brought up in, and to be fair to them, I have known like younger people that like entirely reject the idea of social media because they see how we act with it. Having like been handed it halfway through our lives.
I would even argue your capacity for imagination is directly related to how much this shit sucks you in also.
Yeah.
Because it is the imagination that is being triggered and manipulated by this machine.
Right.
Because I have a fucking imagination, and I probably look at my phone as much as, if not more, than fucking Zoomers.
Right.
Yeah.
Like like my younger sister born 2000, I had frequently no memes and shit and stuff that she's not even hip to. Yeah. Because I'm on this shit a lot. So it's like, I think, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no. I was just, I was kind of done, but I think, I guess I was saying what my hope is that they just do what young people do and see how fucking lame we are with social media,
right?
And say like, oh, I don't want to do that.
But here's where the ageism thing is like real, because that's some boomer shit. And not to say that gerontocracy isn't real. Like we are part of the problem is it's fucking some of the oldest people on the planet holding us in this fucking situation. That's undeniable. It's undeniable. But at the same time, there were ways in which people from those generations lived with one another that were good.
Yeah.
And like fuck the boomers, go beyond the boomers. Let's go hundreds of years, thousands of years back. Yeah. Let's go to the ancient times. It's like I feel like the framing of what we're really saying is like, yo, there's some good shit back here though. Maybe even some keys and solutions to some of our problems that we're dealing with right now. Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, bro. When you just think about the fact that, like,
what's the word? Sorry, I keep cutting you off, but
no, you're good.
It's like descaling. You guys said last episode that
degrowth.
Someone said descaling or unscaling or degrowth, I guess. Yeah. But like, you know, the boomers like, you know, back then we only had, and it's like they're kind of right to a degree. They didn't have, you know, there were 3 television channels and fucking like,
but also the local element.
Right.
There was a local socioeconomic and even political ecosystem that meant something to people.
Yeah.
It may have been fucked up, the governance structures and decision making structure, whatever, but they at least had this notion of, no, like we are supporting and reinforcing each other, and we're trying to keep it close in here.
Right.
You know, because we can't rely on the big man, and we can't rely on this super centralized, all encompassing thing. It's gonna fuck us over in the end. Look, it's fucking us over now. We're losing our jobs. We're losing opportunities. We're losing space. You know.
Yeah, it's just rethinking what our basic fundamental unit of society is, you know?
Yeah.
It's thinking molecules instead of atoms, you know? Yeah. It's just like literally just...
That's some deep shit, though, because under capitalism, you know, the word is, it's capital, it's money.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, it actually isn't.
It's everything.
Yeah. Well, no. But I'm saying capital and money is a means to some things for people. And the biggest thing, if we want to put it that way, that's having, you know, it has huge implications for the entire human species, is power.
Right.
Right. So it's like, it's understanding capital and money as power, but it's also understanding capital and money as status, and status for what?
Right.
Your inadequate, like the feelings of inadequacy maybe that you feel, or some ideas that your father put in you when you were a little boy. So it is social, you know?
Yeah.
It's a very deep thing to, like, if you pause and really try and think about it, you know?
I saw a Pac quote, and I don't know if it's real because it was just like it was
just deep fried.
Yeah,
like
no, it was. I can send it to you. I saved it, but it was like,
it was something to the effect of realize real lives, and I think it's really relevant here.
It was either Pac or Jaden Smith. I can't remember, but it was him saying there's not a left or a right. We're at the bottom coming for the top.
Yeah,
maybe that's real. I don't know, but
I mean,
that sentiment in and of itself is so much more accurate. Where it's like,
and
you're talking about the y-axis more so than the x.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's not we're competing against each other. It's we're all under.
Yeah, right. And it's like, I mean, not to go back to Graeber after getting called out, but like, you know. The way honor.
If he was here, to be like, you are using so many of my bars, bro.
Like, hey man, just bring me on. But no, it's just the way that like honor and status are literally the same as money in a lot of ways. You know, they're literally attributed to that in the sense that like you have these elaborate. That was the word I was thinking of earlier.
Elaborate?
When I couldn't remember these elaborate like systems of credit that are based on the fact that like. We kind of all know each other. We have a community established. Like we have no need to exchange like actual physical money. And so it gets so deep to the point where like it literally is, it's literally your people's ability to trust you. And that's why this like now physical denomination of money has this status of like literally determining how much we value people's opinions, their work ethic, their honor, to be specific about it. Like it literally has all of these implications going back thousands of years that like
it's substituting so many informal just like social things.
Yes, exactly. Things that we could potentially recreate. And even that is also what's the word, epiphenomenal, which is when the state just like adopts things that like the people have done themselves, because people have created systems of credit and money themselves, and then the state says, now we're collecting taxes in this, so that's all that matters, and that's what gives that shit power. You know, it's like
and the way people just think like, oh, they're rich, they must be a good person, or they earned it.
Not their
most people still think that.
They must have earned it and not exploited other people and and let themselves be a.
Which also makes me wonder, how is LeBron a billionaire? I guess just shoes and shit.
I mean, I guess like Nike.
Yeah.
Nike. LeBron, how'd you get that billion? Was it from Nike?
It's definitely, you know, also a mix of like, it's like endorsements and investments.
Oh yeah, and then also investments, like you said.
Yeah,
dude, I saw a clip and it was Shaq being like, "Yeah, I was listening to Jeff Bezos talk, and he said I don't invest in anything unless it changes people's lives." And I started doing that, and and my wealth just went up so much. And I'm like, that's so funny, bro.
I don't.
That's so funny.
I don't invest in anything.
Listening to Jeff Bezos.
I don't invest in anything unless it changes people's lives for the worse. Yeah. I only invest in things that change people's lives for the worse. Negative impact on every single one of my investments. The general pyramid scheme.
I was also thinking about the guy Graeber debated, and instead of naming him, I'll just call him Sauron from now on, so we don't have to name.
Don't give him that hard on, man. That's exactly what he wants to be called. Are you kidding me?
You're Pippin, bro. You're a little pipsqueak, bro.
But yeah, just getting to the point with that. Like I'm saying, them in that debate, getting to the whole.
Well, and that's like
say the quiet part out loud.
I made a TikTok recently that was like, really, it's just about telling great stories. And like the way he talks, it's like
sometimes we need less democracy.
Yeah, sometimes actually there's so many different types of problems, and sometimes him saying we need less democracy.
Sometimes democracy is the worst thing that you could actually have.
Our founding fathers actually, and you agree on this. You said this. Actually, believe there was too much.
And Graeber's like, what about all these evil things that you directly help? There's one thing from being
he held that in the back pocket for a little long. He waited till the last thing to kind of pull that trump card.
When
he's like, well, you just sprung my trap card.
Trap card.
I love how he actually talks with that energy where you say something like that, and he's like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Graeber's hilarious because he just used to just like laugh to himself.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, okay, David.
Right, hey man.
Let Sauron.
He's like, yeah, no.
Let Sauron.
Let a literal movie villain speak. Let Rami Malek from James Bond speak over here.
He's like, yeah, no, that would be I guess that would be a value to society if it were actually used on the people who were actually committing ills on society, like yourself, instead of being used against people like me who are doing the work on the ground.
For those wondering, we're referencing a debate between David Graeber and
a billionaire.
He who shall not be named.
No, we're not naming your ass, motherfucker.
But if you look it up, you'll see it.
Yeah.
But I was interested in the social components of that interaction, and it's like it's a testament to the fact that public debates are so performative that they are almost, they can be useful from an educational standpoint, but they're useless on the point of like any two people actually trying to like change minds or something. You're trying to win in a battle. That's the whole.
No, it's
the whole
super
framing
impractical.
Of it. Yeah, it's not practical. It's not. It's not even. It's not constructive. Also,
no,
you could tell that the ideas, the concepts that David was sharing, they had him in a literal cold sweat.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I am not prepared. In real time, you can see everything on the face. I am not prepared to address this. Mm-hmm. What ideas that are comfortable and close to me can I lean on right now? Yeah. And that is how a lot of social interactions go with people who are, when they're bringing their ego into the conversation, and they come into this framing of, again, this killer be killed thing of like, I got to dominate, or I'm being dominated mentally in this situation, and then you end up in a scenario where nobody gets anywhere.
He literally invokes the 9/11 thing. He's like, well, I think some pretty bad guys blew up some big towers back in the day.
Yeah,
like he says that.
But it makes it tricky because it's in these nuances where you start to wonder, damn, how much of it is sincere? How, in terms of like good intentions and wanting to actually do good in the world, and then how much of it is
from Graeber or from the other side?
from
any other side, any
Right.
person, anyone who's right wing or whatever,
Right.
and has a lot of power
Right.
and status and resources.
Right.
How much of it is someone having good intentions, and then how much of it is attention that they're actually, whether they're conscious, and it's tough because sometimes they're not conscious, they're not actually conscious and aware of it, but attention between that and resources, money, power,
Right.
and them knowing that if they follow the other trail of sincerity, there's going to be a tension between the conclusion that they come to and their bag.
Right.
Now, for someone who's a billionaire, for the most part, they're not, especially
It's a soul thing, too.
especially
It's a soul
I know, but especially
trade-off.
the ones who have a program like the people that we're talking about. We kind of know what it is, but for other people, it ties into that hypothetical or that thought experiment I put out. I was like, damn, like how many of these motherfuckers are like conflicted or even looking or even. I honestly feel like the only place I see that is the crypto, like rich crypto people, but
Yeah, just a sprinkle of that.
yeah, but there's just so much.
It's volatile.
Yeah.
It's people more concerned with the game than systems change.
Sometimes
They
the
use-
game
yes.
the people really good at the games can hack the game.
I
Type
mean,
shit,
But this ties
They
to what
use
we were
that
texting
term-
about, like in terms of like not to get into specifics, but just people in these spaces using systems change and being into the system and the aesthetic of revolution, when really it's all just a marketing ploy for some scheme.
It's not revolution, it's disruption.
Right. Disruption in favor of more fiat that can be leveraged as power
Right.
for them.
Which is how
That's ultimately what it's about.
And they're all very concerned with power.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like a matter of like who can just be real and upfront about that versus who's doing this dance of like no, this is inherently revolutionary and this is inherently
Yeah, like I'll
change
name one,
everything.
fucking GaryVee. Like I always wonder, like that guy's whole brand is like real people, empathy. Yeah. Like fuck yeah.
Right.
And it's like, to what extent does that actually exist in your heart, though?
Well, I don't know.
You know?
Maybe you should just imagine your whole fucking family got shot in the face.
Yeah.
buddy.
Picture your family got shot in the fucking face.
Picture your family. Wake up in the morning every day. Picture your family getting shot in the fucking
He's
face.
one of the funniest
And you
people.
go out and you fucking hustle to make sure that never happens.
Gotta put in the work.
He's got like
put in the work.
6 different TikTokers that make fun
That's
of them.
Danny Lopriori's bit with GaryVee. You gotta put in the work.
You got to put in the work. Start a militia to protect your family from getting shot in the face every morning for the rest of your life.
Yeah, when there's like street skirmishes, what is GaryVee? like fucking just have to avoid that, all right? It's called disruption.
Danny Lopriori, one of his things is, you see, the problem is you're being a pussy. And I love it's like the presentation of we're gonna have a serious conversation and then just get to the most crude, like low level, actually not helpful. Like even it's not even. There's nothing profound. There's nothing.
Right.
There's nothing introspective. There's nothing. It's
I remember.
like calling
I remember
you weak. Like
I remember,
I'm the tough guy. I'm here to be the tough motivation you need that you're not getting in your life.
Yeah, it's tough love. It's like
Right.
this is just how it works. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like
Okay.
I remember him going up to a little girl and she's like, "Yeah, so like, what should I do? Because I've been posting on YouTube for like 2 years and like I haven't gotten any subscribers." And he's like,
Do you own shares in YouTube?
He's like, so this is advice I actually get really excited to give because I rarely get to give it. You've actually put in the work, you've put in the consistency, and it's time to try something else. This isn't working. Like,
Wait, did he actually say that?
to a young girl.
Give up.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to give
It's like,
up.
so you've done the work and it's not working? It's time to figure out something else.
It's time to figure out something else.
That shit.
Right.
Anyways,
Man.
what time is it? Holy
moly, it's past
It's
your bedtime.
almost the fucking hour of the devil.
It's
midnight.
almost tomorrow.
It's almost Wednesday.
It's almost Wednesday. It's way past your bedtime.
It is. I go to bed at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock these days. Get up 6:30.
It's
walk around.
amazing.
We can definitely wrap it, but I will say, like, even just what we talked about in this one, it's like there's so many layers to every single part of what we're talking about. Like every step of the way I want to go, and actually, and did you know, and actually, it's like a list of 20 bullet points.
Yeah, at the same time, I'm like, how are we going to keep this up?
Yeah.
And also, how are we ever going to stop?
Yeah.
That's what's fucked up.
There were so many points left on the table. I'm just like, we're going to have this conversation.
And we didn't even barely talk about some, it's like so funny. Like there's so much absolute inconsequential cultural bullshit we could be talking about, and then we just fill these episodes with this shit
because it's all related, man. It's like at a certain point,
totally.
What the fuck are we talking? This is like child's play. What we're talking about here.
Well, it's like that one creator we were making fun of that's just like constantly in this nebulous space of tying culture with these systems, but making absolutely no conclusions about it.
Right.
And it's just like, isn't that fucking like just kind of on point? What I'm saying?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Also, completely stop there.
Stop there.
Right.
That's what fucking leads to the nihilism and like
fuck that.
It's not for moralistic reasons. At least for me, it's because logically it's not. There's no weight to it. There's
no, you're not serious.
Yes, there is a lot. There is logically another way we can go. There are logically other things we can do, and it's kind of silly and goofy and like wimpy to just kind of circle in this keep swirling in this stew of just we know how everything's fucked up.
Right.
Like it's like that.
You're not cool because you can just like harp on how fucked up shit is.
Right.
It doesn't make you cooler. Like
it's honestly like that panel in Berserk where he's like, "Then kill yourself." He throws a knife to that little girl
for years.
And he's like, "Then kill yourself."
I was saying it. I know it's like it's not. It's kind of insensitive, but like before
kill yourself.
Yeah, before Berserk. No, but I mean. Even for me, that was my impetus. It was like, it's die or I'm gonna try and like do some crazy shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Because why the fuck?
Because you're not serious if you're just like, fucking.
Yeah.
Right. Why?
Right.
Like, no, why are you alive?
Why am I going to sit here and do that?
Right. Right.
Like
why?
If every step of the way you're just like, I could just die and nobody would notice. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
You know? If you're doing all this shit every day and every day you ask yourself what it's for, then do something else. You know?
And that comes with a certain level of comfort, that vantage point. And a certain low level of stakes.
Yeah.
There's not really high stakes there.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's not existentially that effective against you. Like, I've known a lot of kids like that. I met a couple kids in college like that who were just like, everything's so bleak and dystopian, yet they don't really give a fuck. And it's like, well, it's not at an existential level for you then, because if it was, you know, like
you sound like a scene kid.
Right.
Sorry.
Like at the end of the day, bro.
Sounds like a phase.
You just gotta.
It's a phase for you, I think. I think you'll be fine, actually.
But you'll end up circling back in the real way and realizing that everything the scene kids were telling you about that seemed just cool aesthetically had some brutal weight to it.
Hey, look, at the end of the day, bro, you just gotta rise and grind, you know?
Yep.
At the end of the day.
I think that's a good note to end on. That's really all we're trying to say, just rise and grind.
Rise and grind, bro.
That's really all it is.
I know I'm not trying to extend this, but some people in this conversation will interpret it. They do interpret it that way, or at least they the way they
100%.
respond is as if that's the thing of like we're saying it's not hard, or we're saying that there's not suffering, or that we're whatever. But it's literally, it is just, if you think about it logically, everyone has, it's like we all have the same two options, you know,
rise or grind.
Right.
But it's like, no, we can either just keep doing business as usual and like sit in our sadness and just be like, yep, we're fucked and this is the way it's going to go. And I'm going to be sad on the way through the fucked, as everything corrodes and gets worse. I'm just going to like lean into that.
Right.
Or you can go, fuck it, I'm here. Like, let's try and do something different. Can we do something different? Like, let's fucking try it. Why the fuck not? What do you have to fucking lose, you know? Right. And that shit can actually be fun as fuck, in my personal opinion.
That shit is so free.
It makes shit more exciting.
Yeah.
More exciting than just being a cog or being a whatever.
Dog, it feels like you're in fucking Star Wars, like you're in the rebellion shit, you know?
Dude, it feels like you fucking actually, like when you were talking about how it's just like, when you were thinking about existentially, like, am I just going to have to lease my creativity out?
Yeah.
Like, there's so much upside to it. It's like, imagine actually owning your value, owning your
or
what you yield,
or even beyond
with
that,
other people,
even beyond that, dissolving that whole concept of ownership of it and just doing it, you know?
just doing
like,
it,
exactly,
because you don't have to own. You don't have to rely on ownership, because there's already there's a baseline that's been established where you're comfortable and you're eating and you're in community with people.
Right.
My biggest, like,
wow, can you imagine that? Can you fucking imagine
recently,
that?
like, my biggest, I don't know, just mental comfort zone has been, like, just imagining what we could make of shit that I love.
Right.
That's it.
Right. It's that simple.
I'm already beyond, like, okay, the necessities being met for myself, community, and family. It's like, imagine... Look at what we fucking have, man.
Right.
Look at all the tech we have. Like, imagine a utopian society with just the technology we have now, and then extrapolate what if money and research, another Graeber thing, was put towards shit that actually helped us. What if we could cure cancer? What if we could have fucking flying cars, teleportation, fucking all this shit, nuclear fucking fit. Like, imagine we did all that, and then on the art side of things, like, holy shit. Imagine getting past this whole, broken, blind era of human society, and then being able to unpack it through genius minds. Actually platforming genius as a priority. Finding those geniuses. Like, do you know how satisfying it is
giving
to just
them the
see
opportunity to shine? And
Right.
service.
What inspires you to make shit most often is someone fucking else. Right. And if you can, that is almost the more enjoyment out of art is almost just seeing someone else who's so fucking brilliant that you're like, I am so inadequate to them, genius-wise. This is incredible. I'm inspired.
Just the passion.
My spirit, my soul as a human being is alive because of them. Man, just like imagine that shit. Imagine what we could hone in on.
Dog,
that's the shit that has been my comfort place.
I mean, bro, I think so much about like my response to being within this structure, like to bring it back to like the leasing out my creativity. Like I've in response have felt myself dampen my ability to create and perform and all these things just as an ego thing. Just like, I don't want to do this shit, but I recognize that I have to. And I recognize that to be able to keep doing it, I have to perform this well. But like, I'm not going above and beyond to perform for some shit that is not even true to who I am, And so,
it's
and I
the
think
doing.
about
It's the doing.
Right.
The joy of doing it is the whole fucking point.
Yeah. And I think so much about people who do that exact thing. And I think about like, when people have shitty performances in a feature film or on a TV show, and I'm just like, is that really the best of their ability? Or do they on some level recognize what's going on? And
like, I don't want to fucking
that,
see a game like fucking Starfield that Bethesda's making. I'm so excited for that fucking game. It looks like a dream that my childhood would dream of, that fucking game. You can make your own spaceship. There's 1,000 planets. They're full planet size. They're all explorable. There's NPCs. It's Skyrim level dialogue, storytelling. And then I can't fucking enjoy it because I will play it, but like, I'm hearing about this probably 5 days after reading that Fallout 76 article, where I know that fucking the guy who develops the game, Todd Phillips or whatever the fuck his name is, the Joker's director. No, Todd Howard literally is like too busy making that game to see that people QCing Fallout 76 are getting fucked. And that are like suicidal. And he comes in and just shits on everything they're all doing. And then that's just a side money pig cow project to really, so he can focus on Starfield. And it's like Todd Howard's at the fucking presentation talking about this. And I'm like, bro, my like fucking 15 and 27-year-old self are like at odds here. This is fucking crazy.
They're scrapping in my brain.
Imagine if there wasn't a Bethesda, if we
Right.
just made shit like that. I mean, I don't know. You could just keep going and going and going and going and going. But like that motivates me more than anything.
Yeah.
Cooperative game studios out there.
Oh, we're
Tap the fuck in.
let's go.
Please.
At any scale. At any scale.
Any scale.
We could
any
start with a
level.
goddamn fucking flash game, fucking mobile game. I don't care.
And I have the ads. I know where they're at. I know who to at. Even just on the top.
I know
of
some
the
of y'all.
fuck
I
in.
know some of y'all.
I
So
would-
hit me up.
I would literally, let me tell you something. Before I was into anything I'm into now, what I have a degree in anything, I wanted to either make or write about video
talked about
games.
this, yeah.
And dude, if we made a cooperative game studio, I might fuck around and do that for the rest of my life. Who the fuck knows? That's the freedom.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking a federation of them, you know?
Dude.
Let's
Oh,
all
yeah.
interlock
Bro.
and reinforce and support
Yeah.
one another.
Yeah.
you
And
know?
games that maybe take more than like 4 quarters to make,
Right.
and aren't
Yeah.
rolled out half baked.
Maybe
Maybe
take-
they're
right,
bug
maybe-
free and
right.
perfect.
Dog, no, this DLC shit, dead.
Yeah,
Dead.
right.
fuck it. Take the profit and send them out of games and see how fun they are.
Dog, I've gotten too mad playing FIFA every day for the past week to inflict that on somebody else. I will
Right.
never do that. I will never participate in a company that does that. We gotta dead this. Just finish it.
You're blaming your L's on EA, huh?
Yeah, hell yeah, I'm blaming
EA
my L's on
games.
EA. Get the fuck out of here.
Cooperate.
Dog, when there's documented incidents of them like dampening your like sandbagging your gameplay just to sell you new players and all this shit, like hell
Dude.
yeah, I'm
Right.
blaming my L's on EA. Especially when I
You gotta put in the work, you do.
Dog.
You're not putting in the work.
I've played the game for 15 years of my life. I'm 30 years old and I'm not better
think about the
at
Yankees
it.
for
I'm
one
not
second.
Right.
better at the game. How the fuck does
Think
that
about the
make sense?
Yankees for 1 second. They really invested in their squad. It's the same logic that they're trying to get you to internalize.
I'm gonna buy the fucking Jets, okay?
Okay.
Fuck the Yankees.
My
Fuck
dad,
A-Rod.
my dad's a fucking Yankees fan. Can you believe that? Like, have you seen that TikTok?
Right.
That dude was hilarious.
Anyways,
Yeah.
Anyways,
let's close this one.
Let's wrap it
let's
up.
close it. But I would just like to say, if you've listened to these several hours of this, we have mean we have checkpoints, save files. We have means of playing this game and sustaining this, but we don't fucking know how secure that is, how long that is, how tumultuous that could get. If you want to see this, we want nothing more than to build this up, to expand it, and to involve as many people. We want to
Dog.
build this so fucking big. It's so beyond us. This is not a fucking show, man.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this really isn't a fucking show. Like, that'll make sense later.
This
But
shit is a call to
if
action.
you want to
bro.
help us, you can literally help us.
Just tap in.
And it's not about so we can get fucking high and fucking sit around and fucking do this and that's it. Right. We want to work every day of our lives building this shit and have nothing in the way of that and just keep building it literally in the service of just the commons of the public, of everyone to get involved in this.
Yeah.
So please check out the Open Collective page. And if you can, $5 a month would be fucking amazing. If you can't, it's fine. If you can just drop some cash and that's it one time, whatever. But if you've listened to all of this, please, like, that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
We need that.
I'll also say, if you're working on some dope shit,
yes,
and you're on the same page with other people in New York City or beyond New York City, tap in. Just tap. Let's just like talk.
This is not the, I knew about them before, or, I'm going to keep this to myself.
Be a part
this
of
is
it.
so
bro,
cool.
No, you're
Tell
in
everyone.
It.
Fuck that.
Tell
If
your
you-
geeky friends.
If you know about us right now and you're not trying to tap in, you have no clout.
You're
off
counter
of us.
to
You
the
have no
point of this
social-
shit.
Yeah, fuck all that.
That's not the point of this shit. The point of this shit is not, this is so cool, only I know about this.
Yeah, right.
That's not what this is.
Spread the word and spread the action. That's what we got to do, bro.
Yeah.
We're not like I'm not trying to sit on a surplus of resources and not use it. Fuck that.
Right.
You know? We're trying to build. We're trying to institutionalize.
And we're trying to build shit that will last. We're not going to get pulled by fucking Uber Eats.
Right, there's never gonna be a cat. You're never gonna click play and then see a Cash App ad at the top of the program.
No,
it's never gonna happen.
We're not gonna get yanked. You know,
Right.
we're not gonna. Nothing's gonna happen.
You're not gonna catch me with links to Hitachis under my tweets.
Right.
You're not gonna. I'm not gonna do
Right.
that.
Fucking, this is better than LED lights. It's a fucking galaxy on the roof of your room. Fuck that.
And to really explain that, and I don't want to speak for y'all. I can speak for myself. Anything is better than what this shit is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing worth. There's no amount of money. There's nothing that's worth giving up on trying to carve out
Right.
an entirely
Absolutely.
different system.
Absolutely.
As it relates to entertainment, as it relates to our labor, the land, everything.
Fucking, I'll say it this: anything that works first.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be entertainment.
Right.
Right.
If it's fucking cooperative fucking clothing, whatever, it doesn't fucking matter. If we show something works this way, that's what fucking matters.
Right.
Like,
You can
you know
build,
what I mean?
right. Yeah.
Like a group of people have come together,
Right.
and they're working together without fucking each other over
Exactly.
to literally make a living and then help other people do the same shit. Anywhere you're at and you're doing that shit, tap the fuck in.
That's what I'm trying. Whatever version it turns into, I'm gonna get into whatever.
Right,
that is.
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
If it's fucking knitting sweaters, that's what the fuck I'm gonna be doing.
I need some new sweaters, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
new
way into
sweaters.
sweaters because guess what? It's built like that.
Right.
So,
And it's gonna get real cold soon.
yeah, that's the other
I'm
thing.
gonna turn into a chemist. Like
I'll do whatever, bro.
Yeah. Right.
Bro. Like, that's the thing also is you think this is like gonna take a while. Like, fucking, you don't know what the fucking runway of your shit is. You don't know what the runway of this shit is.
Right.
We could be looking at the fucking Titanic iceberg right now. We don't know what the fuck is going on.
Right.
Bro.
Don't take it for fucking granted.
Right.
Yeah.
We are in unprecedented historical times.
Right.
In the meaning of the word beyond any time in history, the word unprecedented has applied to now. Completely unprecedented.
Yes.
We are post-Cold War, post-nuclear, post-internet, post-fucking everything right now.
Right.
I will learn any skill.
I will learn any skill.
Whatever pops up first, I will learn
I'll
any
make
skill.
Dragon Ball Z
I don't give a
super
fuck.
figurines for a living. I
I'll
don't
learn
give
how
a
to
fuck what it is.
I'll learn how to screen print that little hentai shit.
I will. You're like, I will
animate-
mix the plastics.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Look,
And the paint
thirst-
that is put on those acrylic toys.
My
Bro.
thirst for knowledge is on 10 right now. My
Yeah.
thirst for knowledge is on 10.
I'm on
I
some
wanna-
baby
I just wanna
Einstein
learn.
shit.
I'm trying to
Baby Mozart shit. Fuck you. I got neuroplasticity out the ass right now.
I'm on my cocomelon shit right now, boy.
Yeah.
I don't know what cocomelon
I will
is.
watch a fucking metal ball go down a fucking trap to Mozart music if I have to. Yeah.
That's so real, man.
Oh my god. Bro.
So fucking throw us fives, bro. Come on.
Yo.
Help us build this shit. Thank you for subbing also and spreading the word, but the money's gonna move it and it's gonna build it, and trust and believe this is sustainable, this is autonomous shit, this is long lasting. Every brick we lay, the mortar's not cracking and giving out. This is permanent shit.
Yeah.
So yes, tap in, and like Z said, if you know other fucking people, fucking bring them in, even if they're like, if you think this would resonate with them, bring them in, tell your friends, and bring their fucking money too.
Yeah.
I know I'm sounding so fucking crass right now.
Sound like Umar.
but
My brothers and sisters.
What did he say about the $20?
he's like, thank you for the $20. I know you barely had that. Make it 20 next time, but I know you barely had the 10. Yeah. Oh my god. I should be on the live with Jaded, just like, thank you for the $10.
Yo. Oh
Right, it's not money for money's sake. It's like
No.
Right.
because we're all
don't give a
working.
fuck.
We're all working other jobs and like trying to survive and
Yeah.
Speaking
trying
of
to
which,
trying to open shit up for other people at the same time, and it's really hard.
Right.
You know, so any amount. Like,
And if you
helps.
know rich motherfuckers, that's
Yeah,
even
especially if they'd be open to some of these things,
Yeah.
specifically around technology, anything with systems and technology.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of other jobs, labor and whatnot, I am going on tour starting on the 24th of
Support
June.
Yedoye.
So, and I gotta make money in the short term. So I'm not gonna.
I've seen his set. It's very good.
I'm not gonna shout
Very
out all
funny.
my dates, but I'm posting it on socials.
Should we hit the clap?
Hit that clap.
All right. On the 4, right? Or what is it?
It's after the 3. It's not. There's no 4.
Right.
There's no 4.
Right.
Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3.